All right, we should be live. We'll see if anybody joins in. What's going on, everyone? It's Caddy with Money Investing. So I hope that you all are having a reasonable start to the day, because today is absolutely been crazy. Good morning, good morning. Can you guys hear me okay? So you guys should be able to see the screen, see me, and then hear me okay as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about the markets. I figured I'd just go live. So I hope the sound is good. Zion, what's up, man? How you doing? So we'll talk a lot about stocks and the markets. I hope you guys are having a great morning, great evening, wherever you guys are watching from. I'm just having some coffee. So I hope you guys get some coffee and some tea, whatever it is that makes you a little bit comfortable about the markets, because right now the Qs are selling off, although we are pushing up a little bit. So we'll talk about all those things as well. So we'll see. So come on in, welcome. It's over, the world is ending. Gotta love those comments, man. It's amazing. I mean, you know, this right here was actually the weekly chart that I was going over for the Qs, and something that I was not able to address, and in fact I didn't even identify this up until like a couple days ago, was that I was just going over the weekly chart, and I figured I'd just go over to like the live stream, and I'll share this with you. Yes, Michael, Fed is going to talk today. Yes, they are going to talk today, and I think it's like a Wall Street webinar they're going to be doing online. So we'll see where that ends up, right? So we'll see how that turns out to be. But definitely, you know, thank you so much for joining in. Sheila, welcome. Michael, welcome. Antonia, good morning. Zhang, welcome. Shout out from Singapore. Richard, welcome. So everyone, thank you for joining in. If you don't mind smashing that like button, it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm, pushes this video out to other people. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We talk a lot about fundamental and technical analysis. We talk a lot about in detail about the broader market indices, you know, where we can see potentially the markets be headed in the future. So I'm going to talk about the Qs, we're going to talk about the SPY, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things as well. Yes, the markets are definitely, you know, struggling, and this is again, I know that I sound like very repetitive, but this is not unusual, right? This is what we've seen from the markets time and time again. Good morning from Denmark, Daniel. I'll definitely get to all the questions in a little bit. Again, if your time horizon is a little bit short, so I'm looking at, I need the money in about 4 months. If your time horizon is anything less than 12 months. And if you're not like swing trading or like basically day trading any of these stocks, you know, buying on these red days can really, you have to understand that it's going to take some time. It's not going to be like a quick turnaround back to new all-time highs, because there's actual fears about the markets with inflation, with interest rates. So definitely having a long-term outlook on the markets right now is very, very important. It's never been more important to having a long-term outlook on the markets, because, you know, over the next 4 to 6 months, it's really difficult to kind of understand where the markets could be headed. It's very challenging, right? Nobody can predict that. Neither I or anybody in the world knows where the markets is going to go over the next say 4 months, or even a year, or even a couple of years. But I can tell you with a lot of certainty that, you know, probability has shown time and time again that we are going to see over the course of the next 5, maybe 7 years, the markets will hit new all-time highs. The Nasdaq will be much higher than it is today. So let's see. Mike, welcome from Germany. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a look at how many people we have. So 194, 200 people. Let's see if we can get to at least 200 likes. That would really help out with the channel. I'll have the Bloomberg up in here. So if you have anything interesting going on with Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, if there's anything, you know, that they're showing, like if there's any other analysts coming up on the screen, so we'll bring that up, because there's been a lot of talk about rising yields. There's been a lot of talk about inflation. But this right here is going to be a few things that we need to kind of watch on the day. So employment, so we have 8:30 a.m. Eastern is when we're going to find out more about employment, right? That's going to be the claims numbers. They come out every Thursday of every week, so we'll find out how the last week did. And then tomorrow, Friday, that's going to be the first Friday of the month, we're going to find out the unemployment numbers, right? So for today, They're expected to show an increase of 750,000 as the pandemic continues to hold sway over the economy. That's going to be the claims. That's the insurance benefits that people get. And the magnitude of the latter was made clear in the numbers released yesterday by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which showed 15 states had record low employment population ratios in 2020. Meanwhile, economists estimate that tomorrow's payroll number will see 200,000 positions added in February. So that's going to be the estimate that we add 200,000 jobs close to in February. Powell again is going to be speaking on the Wall Street Journal webinar later today, with markets suddenly worried about inflation caused by much faster than previously expected forecast. Oil meeting, we've got the OPEC meeting on output today, so oil is holding above $60 a barrel ahead of the meeting, and we're going to find out whether the market will get the April supply increase that which it is expecting or not. Global equities under a lot of pressure again this morning, with the tech sector one of the biggest losers in the wake of yesterday's Nasdaq sell-off, right? So if you guys did get a chance to watch one of my previous videos from yesterday, we're actually going to go over that really quickly. So this right here was the state of the market yesterday, right? We saw a pretty significant drawdown in the markets. So definitely tech kind of slumping, tech being one of the biggest sectors. And it's all about the squares, right? It's all about the big squares. Like if you were to kind of look at Amazon, Tesla, right? They handle such a big square for consumer cyclicals. We've got technology with a massive, massive red drop, like including semiconductors. We've got Nvidia, AMD, Intel, just straight up down. Like AMD, I can't believe it's trading under $80 a share. Nvidia, it's been so volatile. I kid you not. It went up from $500 to over $600 per share, making new all-time highs, and back down to $500. Like pre-market, I think it was trading at $503, $504 a share. Like it was absolutely crazy. So entertainment, we've got Disney, Netflix also kind of slumping a little bit. And then real estate, we've got utilities over here, we've got basic materials, they're all in the red. Consumer defensive, Walmart is down substantially from all-time highs. I got to look into the earnings and what they reported, because that may actually represent a really good opportunity to kind of get in on Walmart as well. But I'll look into that stock because it's down substantially. Yes, Lily, Nio is also down quite a bit. Sebastian, welcome from Argentina. Yes, Nio is one of the stocks that a lot of people are long on, and a lot of institutional investors are also long on. But we'll cover that on the channel as well. But energy, financials, like those are the two sectors that are or have been going up because of two commodities, right? Oil and interest rates, right? If oil prices go up, that actually helps energy businesses because of their upstream business. And then if interest rates start going up, that's what everything is tied to, especially all the debt products with banks, like mortgage rates, all these different things are priced in with the 10-year yields, so they're also doing well as well. So those two sectors, that's kind of like a reflation, or no, I'm sorry, like a reopening trade that people are seeing for 2021. Of course, a lot of value plays out there, like travel, tourism, those stocks have also been doing really, really well as well. So about the margin, you may want to call them and ask them what that is and why it shows like a negative amount of 2052, like a cash sweep. I'm not sure which broker you're using or which bank, but I would definitely call them up and ask them, what's happening with that. So yeah, I mean that's the kind of like the state of the market. Definitely a lot of rotation out of tech into value and cyclicals and tourism. And this right here is going to be the relative performance 1 day and the 1 week. Like in the past week, I mean, pretty much a lot of the stocks have been down. I mean, yesterday I know that financials and energy did really well, but in the last 1 week relative performance, there's absolutely straight up red across the board. Financials, industrials, energy, basic materials, utilities, consumer defensive, you name it. And I remember it was last week on Thursday or Friday. It was one of those days. I think it was Thursday. That was just straight up red. Like it was just the whole market. It was nothing went up. I mean, it was just absolutely a bloodbath. So I also have the Webull up. We'll kind of look into that as well. Like we'll see what other stocks, because it has a really nice kind of layout. So we'll see if you want to go over that. But this right here is going to be the weekly chart for the Qs, right? So Qs is going to be very, very important. The Nasdaq ETF right now trading as low as $308.45, right, down about 24 basis points. So we'll see where we open. That 50 EMA you guys see is going to be very, very important. Excuse me, that's a 21 EMA, right? That's the white line You guys see on the chart, so right about here is going to be very important, because a couple times you'll notice that we came down to kind of validate that support. So even though we are down about 8%, I want to say, or a little bit over 9% from all-time highs, so 338. Let's see. So we are down, yeah, close to a little bit over 8, almost 9%. So if we drop a little bit over 10%, so if we come down, so right now the 50 EMA on the weeklies is the 21 EMA. I keep saying that 50. So 21 EMA, that's the white line that's sitting exactly at 307, right? That's going to be this right here, $307. If we break down below this today, then yeah, it's going to be a little bit of cause for concern, and then we'll enter kind of like a correction territory for the Nasdaq as well. So QQQs will enter some type of a correction if you break down below 307. Now this right here is going to be a little bit of a different pattern. This is going to be the daily pattern for the Qs. Yesterday I mentioned 309 in the morning briefing. I also mentioned that the Qs and the SPYs were rolling over because the yields were rising. But right now the yields are down, so that's going to be US 10Y. If you are on your TradingView platform, you can go to ticker symbol US 10Y, and you'll notice that we are down roughly 1.8% pre-market, trading as low as 1.458. So it's going to be a really a big thing to look forward to moving forward, because that's what's tightening all these valuations up a little bit, because that's what we use as a discount rate. It's kind of tied to bonds being more appealing, attractive against equities, and people are just moving away from sort of like high growth tech into something else, right? So yeah, I mean, $309 got broken yesterday because we closed at 309. I could say like it somewhat got validated, like almost, but pre-market we are trading down. So this right here potentially will act as some type of a resistance intraday. So that's something to consider moving forward. Again, for the Qs, $309 is going to somewhat act as a resistance moving forward. And remainder of the day, the next support is going to be on the weeklies at 307. We'll see if that gets validated. If not, then we are potentially headed down to $297 per share. That's going to be a double top resistance from here before we sold off. So again, this is not something new, guys, right? This has happened time and time again. It's happened for different reasons, right? I mean, back in March, it happened because of a global pandemic. This right here happened because of overvaluation, like a lot of companies trading at much higher multiples. But now it's coming down because of interest rates and fears of inflation, right? So that's one of the reasons why we are seeing such a significant pullback. So first resistance to watch on the day, 309. We'll see if you break out of that level. The next support to watch, 307. That's going to be exactly sitting right here on the 21 EMA on the weekly chart, all the way as low as $297 per share. That's going to be the level to watch moving forward as well. So let's go over to the SPYs. That's going to be the S&P 500 ETF. Very similar pattern with Qs, with the Nasdaq, although the S&P is not down as much as the Nasdaq is because of course, tech and healthcare being such a heavy weighting for the Nasdaq, right? So black mode on TradingView, please. Yep, this is the black mode, and this right here is going to be my white chart that I do like to use without any moving averages. Kind of gives me an idea of the price action. So again, I'm just going to go over this very quickly. So we are breaking down below 385. That now is going to be the resistance to watch for the S&P 500. So that level is going to act as some type of a supply or a rejection. We'll see what happens intraday. But $380 next support. Right now we're trading as low as 380.43, and pre-market we're down just about 30 basis points. So we'll see how everything reacts to that. In about 1 hour, we're gonna have that unemployment report. And then so $308 is going to be $380 is going to be the next support, and on the weeklies, $368 is going to be a stronger support because again, a couple times we got validated at that 21 EMA, the white line, before pushing higher. So if we do come down to our 21 EMA for the S&P, that's going to be a pullback of close to about 6.5%. So again, I mean, this it's a very 6%, 7% pullbacks is okay. I mean, it's reasonable, right? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the broader markets, right? Do you think it's something to worry about? It's something to be concerned about? Of course. I mean, if you're going to be investing in individual companies, they go down and up more than the average indices do. But that's the game we're playing, right? That's the risk that we have to take. Unless you're okay investing in just an index fund or the S&P 500 ETF, that's the risk reward ratios that we have to understand. Is that when the broader markets drop, The individual stocks are going to drop more than that, right? And it's the same case when they're going up, right? Individual stocks are going to go up much higher than that. So that's just how the averages and the individual stocks work. So there's absolutely no reason why everyone should be panicking, thinking that the world is falling apart or the sky is falling. And ARKG down about $90 a share. Pre-market it's down another 1.5%. So trading as low as $89 per share. Stocks only go down. That's how it's been for the last month and a half. And yes, it's Jacob 6-7. Yes, but how many days in a row is that okay? Really depends. Once we correct down to 10%, 12%, and something that we've talked about on the channel, right? In the past, I mentioned that 14,000 was going to be the resistance for the S&P. For those of you who have been following up with the analyses, I mentioned the Nasdaq 14,000 psychological resistance, S&P 4,000 psychological resistance, and then we talked about how we could potentially see an 8 to 10% correction. 8 to 10% correction. The Nasdaq is a little bit over 8%, so I can expect the Nasdaq to kind of stabilize after a 10% pullback or a correction. For the S&P, a little bit being diversified, I could see it being down maybe 6, maybe 8%, or a little bit over 8%. We'll see how the yields turn out, right? That's the big if. How are the yields going to do? Because again, if tech doesn't help the broader markets, they are coming down. Because the value, the cyclical plays, the other sort of sectors, financials, energies, it's very difficult for them to outweigh tech when they are pushing higher to bring the averages with them, right? I hope that makes sense because tech has such a big influence on the broader markets. So what's really happening here is unless you are invested with like a professional money manager or like a hedge fund manager that is actively moving money around, that is actively basically kind of, looking for opportunities, looking for yields, or if you are someone who's trading or investing by yourself, like most of the people are, then if you've taken advantage of those other opportunities, then you're doing well. But for the average person that's investing in the S&P 500 index fund or the Nasdaq or is very concentrated, let's say in tech, that's what's hurting the markets right now, is because tech coming down, bringing the averages with them. So all right, let's take a look at how many people are watching, and then we'll jump over to some individual stocks as well. So 700 people, make sure that you guys drop a like. Let's see if we can get to at least 300 likes. We've got 700 people watching, 149 likes right now. So make sure that you drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. You guys know that. Let's take a look at if there's anything going on Bloomberg. So let's see if we can hear something.
Weeks, in fact, through most of this year, it's about the weightings of a benchmark and the struggle to really get much higher from here on the S&P 500. This is the Morgan Stanley world. This is the Bank of America world. This is the Wells Fargo world. This is what they've been looking for. A struggle to break that 3,900 level. Because of this, switch up the board and just get to three names. Amazon, Apple, Tesla. In line with about 11-12% of the overall index, in line with the overall weighting of the financial sector on the S&P. So even though the financials year to date are up 13%, look at the 30-day performance of these names. Apple down 11%, Amazon off by 10%, Tesla off by 23%. If these keep going down, the headline number is going to struggle. And I've been talking
exactly
about
what we just talked about, right?
Months, and it's been obvious, I know, but this really is the story, and it's worth repeating. If you want the S&P 500 to go higher, these names have got to stop going down fast. Finish on this in the bond market. Can we breathe some life into that trade from this in the bond market? This one today down to Chairman Powell. Yields on a 10-year, 146, and down about 2 basis points on a session. On a 30-year, we're down 4. That's called the bull flattener when the long end rallies, Tom. And this, of course, is going to be all about Chairman Powell a little bit later. How comfortable is he with what he's seen in the last week? And does he feel the need just to lean in?
So again, I mean, this is something that we just talked about, right? 10 seconds ago. By the way, Lester, thank you so much. Lester, I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. Thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate you, and I hope the videos are helpful with the analysis and different technical breakdowns. So thanks again. So that's the name of the game, guys. I mean, Nasdaq and tech, and I know that we've seen a lot of comments on the channel lately that you shouldn't be so concentrated on tech, but I strongly believe that's what's going to drive the growth, and it's going to be a big disruption in the future. Hold my milk. That's coffee. I hope you guys are getting some coffee and tea. And having a great morning or great evening wherever you guys are watching from. So again, let's take a look at the Qs really quickly. Pre-market. We are down about 32 basis points, and the S&P is down just about 30 basis points. And again, some levels to watch for new people joining in. I'm going to quickly go over, and then I'm going to go over some individual stocks as well. For the Qs, keep a close eye at this first support that's going to be sitting roughly at $307 per share, so kind of aligned with that 21 EMA on the weekly chart, because in the past, we've had validation at that level as well, right? So a lot of support at that level before we pushed up. So we are potentially retesting down to that 21 EMA, and this right here is going to be the level to watch below $307, and that's going to be sitting roughly at $297 to $300 per share. Previous double top resistance, we got rejected before pushing higher, back testing that old resistance as a new support before breaking out even further. So 2 levels to watch: 307 all the way as low as 297, 300. That's going to put us in a correction territory, down about 10% from all-time highs, and $309 is going to potentially act as some type of a resistance on the day. All right, so we're going to go over to, let's see where Nio is trading right now. Chart number 2, and we're going to go over to this one as well. So Nio down another 3%, $40, $40.13 as of the time of this video. So definitely a massive red candle coming in pre-market. And this right here I've mentioned, kind of like a demand area or an area of support that we need to watch, right? $43 got broken yesterday, which we turned into a resistance in my previous video from an update. But Nio definitely, I mean, it's just been trending down, right? And I feel like there's a combination of 3 to 4 different things. And it was down over 13% the day after they reported their earnings, right? So it's a combination of global chips shortage, weak guidance, right? They're not going to be able to produce as many cars as a lot of investors are hoping for because of the global chip shortage. The third one is going to be the broader markets, right? The broader markets are coming down. The fourth one is going to be interest rates, right? Interest rates are kind of suppressing the valuation for these high growth names. The fifth one is going to be the earnings, right? So earnings was a big catalyst for the company. They somewhat missed revenues, they were surprised EPS by a lot. So if you guys have been following up with the analysis on Nio, we've done fundamental and technical analysis on the company. I strongly have a lot of conviction on this company over the long term. Can't tell you where it's going to go in the short term, right? Where is Nio going to trade like tomorrow or the next week? But considering the delivery numbers, considering the demand in a growing industry for a growing company in China, this makes for a solid play in the future. And I could be wrong. This can trade, let's say, at $10 like 2 years from now, right? We don't know that. But I'm more than happy to take my conviction and my confidence with this company and to see how that turns out, right? How does the company does? How well do they do with battery as a service, right? Again, we have to learn from the mistakes, and this is a long-term growth play for myself. So we'll see where that ends up. Chip shortage has killed the EV industry for at least 1 to 2 quarters. I agree, and not so much the killed, but I do agree that it's really been a very big challenge for a lot of companies out there, including Tesla's, look at this EV watch list, right? So this right here are going to be all the EV stocks. CCIV down 13%, Workhorse down over 7.5%, Ride, which is going to be Lordstown Motors, down about 7.5%, Hyliion down another 6.8%, Tesla down over 4%, Nikola down over 7%, Nio over 4%, XPeng over 4%, Li Auto down over 4%. So, that's just the state of the industry. I mean, are these companies not going to drive this change for electric vehicles in the future? I mean, Tesla is one of the biggest ones. It's one of the biggest leaders. Kathy Woods from ARK Invest is going to come out with her new target in a few weeks. They're going to publish their report. But UBS, we also broke down yesterday, they upped their price target more than double, right? 100% from $350, I think it was like $325, to over $730 a share, I believe. I could be wrong, but it was around the $700 range for Tesla. And they think that Tesla is going to be a leader in software, right? It's not even an industry that Tesla is heavily in software, solar and EVs and autonomous driving and so on and so forth. But they think they're going to be a leader in software, right? Autonomous driving is going to be huge for the company. So this is, I want you guys to answer this as well. We broke down Tesla's profitable cost breakdown. So average cost sitting roughly at 702, and there's only 23% of the total shares that are currently profitable. That was absolutely incredible statistic to look at. And for Nio, that's less than 1%. What did you guys make of that? What did you guys think about that statistic that we broke down on the video, right? For Nio, the average cost is sitting well over $50 a share, and there's less than 1% of shareholders currently profitable on Nio. So what did you guys make of that statistic? So the futures, Nasdaq futures, are down potentially a little bit over 34 basis points on the day right now. Yeah, and I know that this can be really struggling. This can be really frustrating in the short term when you have everyone, you know, that's the thing about sentiment, is like when everyone's bearish on a stock, that is one of the signals when you may want to get bullish on that stock, right? Right now, everyone's so bearish on the EV industry, on Tesla, on Nio, and they're bearish for the right reasons, right? They're bearish for the right reasons because of the chip shortage, the interest rates. They were already trading at much higher multiples, but the question is, when will this drop? When does it drop? So that's a great question. And like I mentioned earlier in my previous videos, all these prices need to stabilize a little bit. Like, I'm not a huge fan of having these 4% drops or 3% drops and then followed by a huge rally the next day. Like Nio had another 8% rally the other day. I'm not a huge fan of those moves because it really creates unnecessary volatility for that stock. I'd be more pleased with seeing some stabilization and having like a smaller red day and then having a much smaller red day, because that creates the exhaustion that we're looking for from the selling pressure, right? That's the biggest key to recovery, is having some type of consolidation. Like right now, we're going straight up down. So this right here is going to be the pattern, right? Like that. So what we want from this is to basically consolidate, right? We need to go sideways. That's the biggest thing, is to consolidate sideways so that we can then make some type of a recovery back up higher. What usually happens is, you'll notice we're coming down, we're pushing up, we're coming down even further, we're pushing up, we're coming down. That just creates a lot of unnecessary volatility, which is not healthy for a potential recovery back to new all-time highs, right? So we need to find a support, and right now for Nio, that's going to be sitting roughly at $40 all the way as low as $38 per share. That's I'm really understanding that there's going to be a lot of demand at that level, considering that we bounce off of that very exact support. So this is coming in from November 11th. We kind of validated that support here, pushed up, retested that support once again on December 2nd. This right here on December 14th. So a lot of support here before we pushed up higher. So that right there is going to be again acting as some type of an area of demand. We'll see if that level gets validated, or if we breach that level and if we come down even further. So that's going to be my 2 cents on Nio. I'm really interested to find out how well the company does over the next 12 to 24 months. You know, what their production numbers look like, and how well they do with the deliveries, how well they do with profitability, with the margins. They've already expanded those margins, vehicle margins and gross margins. So definitely very interested to find out. So this right here for the futures. So let's go over to the broader markets. Let's take a look at where everything is trading, right? So let's take a look at everything else. So we're going to go over from top to bottom. First of all, let me see how many people are watching. So again, make sure that you guys drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. GME, GameStop down about 87 basis points as of the time of this video. Alibaba down about 85 basis points. We've got CVS down about 4 basis points. And then we've got Visa down about 4 basis points. We've got Facebook pretty much flat. Facebook has also kind of exhausted that selling pressure quite a bit. And the support to watch is going to be 254 for Facebook. Kind of got validated yesterday. The low was 255, so we'll see if that level continues to hold for Facebook or not. Google down about 23 basis points, still kind of hovering exactly at 2022. So right now, as of pre-market, you'll notice exactly at 2022 levels, right? You're right, Howard. Support lines don't mean anything unless emotions take over. So, you know, here's the point with technical analysis, right? We're not trying to predict where the market's going to go. We're not trying to predict where the stock is going to go, because that's almost impossible to do. Technical analysis is a tool to manage risk. That's it. As simple as put. Now, if you were to put stocks in a vacuum, if you were to take all the macros out, if you were to take all earnings, PR, like releases, emotions out, they will follow with that trend. They will trade exactly in that pattern, validate those support resistance levels. The reason why we see these breakouts and breakdowns, like for example, Twitter breaking down some type of a support, Nio breaking down some type of a support, is the very reason why emotions and everything else gets priced into the chart, right? So that's why it's so important to look at the technicals, is to really understand where the price action is going. That's the biggest reason. Zyme, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'll cover Li Auto and XPeng in just a second. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So for Google right now, down about 23 basis points. We've got Apple down about 17, trading as low as 121. That's going to be the next support here to watch. As low as $120 per share for Apple. And this is going to be the weekly chart. Again, we are getting rejected by that 21 EMA. So in the past, you'll notice 21 EMA getting validated here, perfectly getting validated here, and we just broke down below that level last week. So definitely a lot of bearish sentiment on Apple as well. So, again, with Apple being down, let's see how much is down. So let's take a look. From all-time highs of over 145, we are down 15%, right? This is very normal. This was the same pullback from coming in from August 31st, and Apple was down over 25%, right? Do you guys even remember? Does anybody remember what September looked like? Like how much pain we saw in the month of September? The S&P was down. Let's take a look. So this right here was the month of September, right? So the S&P was down over 10%. Does anybody remember what September feels like or felt like? That right there was a 10% drop for the S&P. This right here was another 8% drop for the S&P, right? So I know it's like very difficult to kind of remember when that happened last time, because in the moment it's very difficult, right, to really understand that the markets are dropping, why are they dropping, when is it going to stop, so on and so forth. Microsoft down about 20 basis points pre-market. We've got Amazon down Amazon's up 26 basis points, so we'll see. That's quite unusual for Amazon to do. So we'll see. Yes, Deutsche Bank, Edison Yu, he's an analyst for Nio as well. So we'll see where that ends up in the future. Palantir up over 3%. I do know that ARK Invest bought a little bit yesterday. I could be wrong, but I think they did buy a little bit. But it's up over 3%. Twitter down about 37 basis points. We've got AMD down about 0.5%. AMD is another stock that I'm incredibly long on. I have a lot of conviction on this stock for 2021 and beyond. Because of the chip shortage, because their demand is exceeding their supply, great management, great balance sheet, definitely a lot of growth potential for this stock as well. And it's somewhat undervalued if you were to compare that with Nvidia. Qualcomm up over 27 basis points, but it's also seen quite a significant pullback from the highs of 167. We are down over 21%. Nio getting bought up a little bit, so it's down about 3% now, and trading as high as $40.25. Nvidia, again, so volatile, down about 33 basis points. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely brutal for Nvidia stock, right? I mean, look at their drops. Trading as high as $615 in just 2 weeks. It kind of wiped out over 17%. It's really volatile. Like, this is Nvidia's beta is really high. I feel like it's got like over 2 beta. I could be wrong, but this right here, week down about 7%. The following week up over 16%. This right here, the following week down over 8%. So it's just so volatile, back and forth for Nvidia. Tesla down about 18 basis points. 650 still holding. We'll see if that level gets validated. Right now, that 21 EMA on the weeklies are also sitting exactly at 655. So we'll see if that gets validated as well. We've got Unity Software. This is also a really strong company in the gaming sector, but it's just getting beat down because of the higher multiples or the broader markets, and that's where the discrepancies are, right? Again, this is the opportunity to take advantage of those deals if you are finding stocks that you've really wanted to invest in, but they were just ripping higher day in and day out, right? One stock that I will personally be considering is going to be Fiverr. I've traded this before, but it just kept ripping higher and higher and higher, and I didn't want to buy like at over $300 a share, right? Because at that point, the risk reward is not there yet, and it's been down quite a bit. Pre-market, it's up over 3.5%. But this, again, very, very strong company for like gig economy, e-commerce, freelancing, so on and so forth. So let's go over to Xpeng really quickly. Xpeng stock has also been down pretty hard, over 4% yesterday, over 2.2% the following day. And let's see if I have any. Yep, so I do have some analysis on it. $30 got breached yesterday. or $30.90. So if I go over to my daily chart, you guys will notice that is the level that we kind of validated coming in from November 11th. So we pushed up, we back tested that support before breaking out further. So the support, there's a support that Xpeng needs to kind of validate, right? It potentially looks like it's coming down to fill in this gap, right? It left this gap, huge gap over here. So 2750 would be the next level to watch here for Xpeng. And one of the key things for all these stocks right now in the markets is to stabilize. That's all we really need to do, is stabilize the stock price, kind of reduce that volatility in the markets, get above our moving averages, because those two, I've put a lot of emphasis on the moving averages, act as so much resistance. Like it's unbelievable. Like the trend, when it shifts, it really shifts, and it becomes really difficult to regain control for a lot of stocks. Like for Nio, you know, you'll notice, let's go over to Nio here very quickly. So for Nio, you guys will notice it was validating that 21 EMA, the 50 EMA so nicely for a really long time. This is coming in from June and July of last year, right? We're consistently just trading higher, validating that 21 EMA, validating that 50 EMA, and boom, February 22nd comes around, we break down in one single shot, down about 8%, and then it's just been down, right? The bears just took over control for a lot of stocks. Same with Tesla. It's not just Nio. Same with Tesla. We broke down below the 21 EMA. We broke down below the 50 EMA. Same with Apple. We broke down below those moving averages. We even came back up to retest that. So you can see that we broke down, we went back up, got rejected, and sold off even further. Same with Amazon, right? Amazon also broke down below those moving averages. And even the 200 daily simple moving average. That is quite of a concern. You know, as an Amazon shareholder, that's a bit of a concern for myself, because we're trading below the 200 daily simple moving average as well. So that's, you know, that could lead to some more pain for Amazon, unfortunately. But for Xpeng, you know, $31 is going to now start acting as a resistance. The RSI, the MACD, there's absolutely no doubt that we are incredibly oversold from an RSI MACD standpoint. Like the RSI trading as low as 24. I can't even remember the last time the RSI was this low for Xpeng's, you know, history. Like look at the daily chart, look at the Xpeng's history, like it's never been this low. The MACD also aggressively selling off. So that right there would be the next support level to watch for Xpeng right here, close to 2750 levels. Once the whole market stabilizes, once the whole EV industry stabilizes, then we can see a lot of these individual stocks also kind of consolidate and then push higher once again as well. So, and then we're going to quickly go over Li Auto. I know that Li Auto is one of the ones that reported a profitable quarter. So, you know, even after reporting a profitable quarter in the EV space in China, they're still getting punished, right? They're still not able to kind of regain control from those moving averages. So again, acting as so much resistance here, getting rejected, coming all the way down. The next support is going to be somewhat sitting at close to, I want to say $22. So exactly where the pattern is trading right now, pre-market. All resistance right here. So $22 on the dot is going to be the next support level to watch. So we'll see if that level gets validated, because pre-market, if I go over to the 4-hour chart, you'll notice that we are trading exactly at that support. So it's very critical. I mean, it's a very important day for a lot of stocks, because if they don't validate these support levels, you know, it could take a really long time for us to see some consolidation. And that's just how the patterns are working. That's just how the broader markets are working, you know? So thank you so much for joining in. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We cover a lot of fundamental and technical analysis, kind of give you guys a holistic view on the market. We cover the broader market indices, we cover the yields, we cover the VIX, we cover individual stocks as well. So definitely, if you are into that, consider subscribing. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, really helps out with the algorithm. Let's take a look at what Bloomberg is reporting right now.
The Greens have shifted much more towards the center, and that's given them a huge block.
How does a Biden administration...
We'll cover that. We'll come back to that in a little bit. So, all right, let's take a look at some of the other stocks. If there's any stocks you guys want me to cover, let me know in the live stream, and I would definitely make sure to cover that as well. So let's go over to Palantir really quickly. So Palantir also has some support levels. In fact, Palantir is a great example, you guys. Palantir is the perfect example what I mean by some consolidation, because it's been trying to stay up, right? It's been staying up. So if you were to look at the pattern, you'll notice that Palantir kind of exhausted that pressure much faster than the broader markets and some of those individual stocks. So you'll notice that it's been coming down since January 28th, and we are down a little bit over 44-45%, right? So even though that all these stocks are still trending down, Apple pulling down, Amazon pulling down, Tesla still getting beat down, Nio dropping, Palantir has done a good job in consolidating. So you'll notice that recent trend, right? What does this look like? It looks a lot like stabilization, consolidation, kind of exhausting that pressure. And $22.50 is going to be the next support level to watch, because that is a level coming in from January 5th. So we validated that support here. Perfect validation of that support here. We somewhat also validated coming in from December 3rd, December 4th. And even recently, we kind of validated that support here. So that's going to be the most important level to watch for Palantir. Is going to be sitting roughly at $22.50 right here. To see if that level continues to find support. And then $25, that's the rejection, that's a resistance. If you guys have been keeping up with the analysis, coupled with that 2150 EMA sitting roughly at $27, those two levels, definite resistance. So much rejection at that level for Palantir, it's unbelievable. But again, I've looked into the company. Fundamentally speaking, they do trade at a rich valuation, but there's a lot of growth potential for this company as well, as they continue to kind of expand both their government and commercial base, and they are expecting $4 billion revenue in 2025. I'm more than happily expecting them to kind of exceed their own guidance in 2025. So we'll see where that ends up in 2025. So let's go over to CCIV, Churchill Capital Corp, and this is, I know there was a valuation sort of mishap with CCIV, and a lot of people were not expecting a $24 billion valuation versus a $12 billion. One of the reasons why it was kind of pulling back. In pre-market, it is down another 4%, trading as low as $23.15. So this right here, $30 resistance, $35 as well. And then the support, let's go over to the 4-hour chart. So the next support that CCIV really needs to kind of validate is going to be sitting roughly at $21. In my opinion, that's going to be the level that if CCIV were to kind of validate that support, thank you so much, CTAB. I really appreciate that, and glad the videos are helpful. Again, the whole point of these videos with these analysis is not to predict the future, because nobody can do that. All I'm trying to do is get a better read on the markets with the help of technical analysis, with the help of fundamental analysis, looking at the broader markets to understand where those key levels are going to be and what we can expect moving forward, and kind of increase our odds for success. That's the whole point of these videos. So thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate the support, and glad the videos are helpful. So that right there is going to be the next sort of support level to watch for CCIV. Is going to be sitting roughly at $21 per share. Previous resistance right here, we got rejected. Again, this is coming in from January 15th, right? The velocity at which the stock took off was absolutely unbelievable to see, right? Absolutely went from like $10 all the way to highs of 64. So that's like what, 6x. A little bit over 530%. So absolutely massive, run up higher. But of course, with the valuation and everything coming in, and the news and the catalyst around it, that's one of the biggest reasons why we saw the big drop. So $21 is going to be the next support if we do see. And again, with this is the same thing with tech. So there's absolutely no reason why you should be panicking if you are someone who's holding CCIV. Is that at what price point the valuation starts to seem attractive once again, right? And that's kind of like the question that I ask myself as well, is that, okay, tech is selling off, right? Apple is down 15%, Amazon is down, let's say 18, Tesla is down over 30. At what price point are the valuations going to become attractive again, right? At what price point everyone is going to be like, okay, well, now it's too low for me to not invest in these companies, right? Because these are companies that are not going away. This is just a valuation reset, and we're just recalibrating because of interest rates and inflation fears, right? So at what price point is CCIV going to become really, really attractive to investors? That's the question that we really need to ask. And again, the valuation comes into play when we are basically, ripping higher, making all-time highs. So that's a big question that investors ask. Well, what is the right valuation, and what is the growth potential for this company? I know that Lucid Motors is going to be one of the biggest players in EVs in the United States. And as they expand in other areas as well, I still need to do my fundamental analysis on the company to kind of understand, what their growth projections look like. but the selling pressure at some point will stop. Like, nothing lasts forever. No bull rallies, no bear markets, nothing lasts forever, right? That's the biggest thing that I can kind of share with you guys, and the biggest takeaway, and something that we shared in my yesterday's video as well, that don't let this pullback or drawdown kind of restrain you from investing in general, right? Because that's one of the biggest takeaway. Like, you can get really discouraged to not invest in the markets because of how February went, because of how March is going. So the biggest takeaway is to keep going at it, keep consistently putting money away, contributing it to your portfolios, whatever the case may be for you, and then not kind of get frustrated or discouraged with the market pullbacks, because this is very normal. All right, so we will cover Tesla in more detail in just a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the other ones as well. Paul, we covered the NDX, so the Nasdaq and the S&P earlier. For everybody new joining, I'm just going to quickly go over. We have a little bit over 1,400 people, so let's make sure that we have the like button on check. All right, so let's go over to the S&P over here. So for the S&P, I've already mentioned that we could see a pullback territory get hit, and that's going to be sitting roughly at 3,800 points. We got tapped at 3,819 the other day, or yesterday, and I would not be surprised if we do see a more of a correction for the S&P 500, because right now we're only down about 4.5%, close to 4%, 3.5% from all-time highs for the S&P. That's only because tech has been slumping, and we also have energy financials doing really, really well. This guy's like therapy, Eric. No, but this is not about therapy. Thank you for that. But the whole point is that this is not unusual, right? This is very normal. Like, in the moment, I know it can seem like I don't want to invest and I want to sell for a loss and whatever the case may be, but we have to really logically understand why this is happening and what's the cause and what's going to happen in the future, right? Interest rates at some point, they're not going to keep going up. They're not going to shoot over 3%, 4%. Because that would really create some major discrepancies in the market. So it's a short-term thing, it's a short-lived thing, and it could last for another quarter, maybe 2 quarters, maybe by end of 2021, but eventually we know what our strong long-term plays in the markets, right? So the S&P 3,800 is going to be the first support level. We'll see if that gets validated today. Right now, pre-market, we are down. And then 3,500 is going to be more of a correction territory for the S&P. And then going over to the Nasdaq, the 12,600 is going to be the next level to watch. Gadiel, shout out to you. So thank you so much for joining in. Really appreciate that. 12,600, kind of aligned with that 200 SMA, is going to be the next stop that we're going to potentially see for the Nasdaq. And we've also covered the QQQ. So again, you guys are more than welcome to watch that as well. Merlin. I don't think they're gonna have that in India yet. So we'll see if that turns into a reality. But we'll see. Let's go over to RKT and rocket companies. A lot of people have been asking for it. We've been analyzing this for a long time. Let's see. It was down a little bit over 32% recently. So in our previous live stream, I covered this, and we talked a lot about fundamentals and interest rates. So the biggest thing about rocket companies is underwriting loans, right? They had a great 2020. They had a really solid year last year because of the low interest rate environment we were in. Huge amounts of volumes in underwriting mortgages, and that's one of the biggest reasons they grew so fast. But moving forward, right? What environment are we going to go into, right? What is the company? Are they going to do it in the same volumes, right? That's a big question. Are interest rates going to stay that low for us to see rocket companies also do well in the future as well? So we have to understand what the fundamental or the valuation is going to be and what the growth projections look like for rocket, right? But it absolutely up over 151%. New all-time highs is $43 per share. Right now we're kind of sitting perfectly over that 21 EMA on the 4-hour chart. So we'll see if that level gets validated. It's going to be sitting roughly at 27.92. So that level right here. Because that right there, huge sell-off, we're consolidating sideways. So that right there is going to be the level to watch moving forward. And then of course the 50 EMA is sitting roughly at 24.82. All right, let's take a quick look at the pre-markets. Let's take a look at how many people we have. So 1430, and then let's take a look at Bloomberg if they have anything going on.
Finance the recovery, and that actually creates a natural weakening for the dollar. People talk about this as a strengthening of the dollar because of the growth that it generates. But Tom, naturally and historically, the bigger the deficit, the weaker the currency, and that is a big conundrum right now as people try to figure out what the consensus is.
The twin deficit, my chart of the year, I think 2 of the last 4 or 5 years, it's an extraordinary deviation right now. John Farrell, what's so important and what Lisa says is the IIF with their representation of the major banks. I mean, dollar dynamics and yield dynamics can cut both ways.
Do you know who
for
has
our
a big
banks.
current account surplus? Europe. Do you want to buy euro right now? Do you want to buy Europe? Just on that, is that reason enough to buy currency at the moment?
But euro on euro yen, come on, euro has been resilient versus a comfortably weaker yen for Japan.
So RKT is done. Let's take a look at where the markets are trading. Nio down about 3.6%, kind of hovering over that $40 level. Workhorse down about 1.74. That's the level that I've identified as the demand or the support. We're still kind of validating that level. We'll see if that support continues to hold up, or if we're going to see some more pullback. I know that Kathy Wood, ARK Invest, they also bought a little bit. Lordstown Motors down about 2.6. This is a stock that I haven't really analyzed yet, but 200 simple moving average coming in. That's going to be the black line you guys see on the chart. So again, validated support here. Angel, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I will go over Angel and just go over Ford in just a second. So this right here again is going to be the support level to watch for Lordstown. We'll see if that gets validated. Currently sitting at 1835. Then we got Hyliion, another stock that I haven't really looked into personally, fundamental or technical wise, but pre-market or even more recently, I mean that's the level that's kind of been validated at close to 1450. Because not even 1450, at close to, I would say, $15. So let's bring up that a little bit. Again, validated support here, validated support here, validated support here. We'll see if that level gets validated today, but I would really need to do my fundamental research on this to kind of understand what the growth potential looks like for this. Nikola, I'm going to skip over Nikola right now, but Nio, we've also covered that. XPeng and Leota we also did. So let's go over to Ford. So Ford Motors, it's been on a strong uptrend, that's for sure. I mean, if this is something that you were invested in, you've been doing really well, especially recently coming in from the beginning of January. It's up a little bit over 50%. So strong uptrend for Ford. Let me just bring that over here. So perfect validation of those moving averages. Again, the trend is in the favor of Ford. It's pushing higher, making higher highs, higher lows. So we'll see if that continues to get validated for Ford. And it's going to have a strong support at close to $12.22. So again, previous resistance. We'll see if that level continues to get validated, aligned with that 21 EMA as well. Let's go over to the daily chart. And the next resistance potentially is going to be sitting roughly at 1337. So that's going to be the level over here for Ford. Abe, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for joining in. So yeah, 1330 would be the next resistance on the monthly chart. On the weekly chart, previous support, previous resistance coming in from 2018. But this has been a really good ride, or good run for Ford, right? Coming in from March lows at $4, up over 193%. So that would be the next resistance at close to 1330. And the next support is going to be sitting roughly at $12 per share, like right around this level. But also keep a close eye at that sort of like a shooting star or an inverted hammer candle, because if you do see some selling pressure, this could also signal some type of a trend reversal for Ford. So we'll see if that happens or not. Um, if people see their tech stocks drop more than 50%, we might see a crash of tech growth, don't you think? I mean, that if tech drops 50%, that already is a crash. I mean, for the S&P, the Nasdaq, I mean, that's going to have such a big influence on the broader markets. And yeah, I mean, that potentially could lead to a lot of panic selling and a lot of, race to the bottom, and how people are going to raise capital or raise cash. That's going to be a biggest concern for a lot of people. For let's see. All right, so we're going to go over some stocks as well. Again, talk a little bit about, let's see what's going on at Bloomberg.
I think there was a problem in ordering enough vaccines in the last year, but now anyone is working very hard to work that we will have enough vaccines to bring it to the people, and this is what is organized in all the countries, also in Germany.
So the report comes out in about 20 minutes, the unemployment report. So we'll see how much of an impact that has on the broader markets. Let's take a look at some other stocks. All right, let me know in the live stream if there's anything that you want me to cover. Are you guys having some coffee, tea, and having a good day? At least a good start to the day or the evening? We're all going down, homies. Right, so let's take a look at Lemonade. Lemonade coming below $100 a share. I think it was trading as low as $101. So a lot of weakness for this stock as well, right? So definitely it's been selling off quite a bit. High multiple stock, richly valued before the pullback happened. So this right here is going to be the level to watch, like kind of like at $100 on the dot. Previous resistance, back tested support for Lemonade moving forward. And the resistance it needs to kind of break out of is going to be sitting roughly at 120, I want to say. So 120 again. Previous resistance as well for Lemonade. The RSI, the MACD, incredibly oversold, coming as low as $30, 30 for the RSI. So the Nio we've already covered. Bentley, you're more than welcome to go back and kind of go over Nio stock as well. Nvidia we also covered in the past. S&P Bear ETF, let's take a look. So you're talking about regular ETFs or leverage ETFs? Regardless, I mean, they do have these push higher, right? This is a great way if you want to hedge your position. Again, it's not personally recommended. I'm not a financial or investment advisor, but in the past, like you'll notice when the S&P drops quite a bit, ticker symbol SPXU or ticker symbol SQQQ, those are going to be some inverse ETFs that actually go up when the markets go down. So this right here was a jump of 30% when the markets pulled back in October. This right here in September when the markets pulled back as well, they jumped close to over 38%. So again, Tesla, Palantir, Tesla we're going to cover. So Palantir, Nio, Apple we've covered. Nvidia we've also covered. So you guys are more than welcome to go back and kind of watch that and jump over to the live stream as well. So let's take a look at STPK. Russell, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And wow, it was down 12%. Pre-market down about 79 basis points. So we're seeing another shift in the pattern for STPK. Russell, that's one of the biggest things that you want to look into is that, we're trading below the 21 and the 50 EMA that we just broke down yesterday, right? This right here, we broke down the trend. In the past, 21 EMA acting as a perfect support here. So validated level here, this right here, another time we somewhat validated that 21 and that 50 EMA for this stock as well. And right now we're seeing a shift in the pattern. So the next support to watch for this stock is going to be sitting roughly at 2650. So that right there is going to be the level to watch because we somewhat we basically had a rejection here and then a back tested support here for that stock. So that right there would be the level to watch. We are down substantially. The RSI coming down a little bit over 40, and the MACD has also been selling off. So that would be the first level of support at close to 2660, 2650 levels for us to see any type of stabilization for this stock as well. Let's take a look at Qualcomm really quickly. Let's see where it's trading. So I think I did a recent video on it, or no, I didn't do a video, but I did do like some analysis on this. 132 needs to 132 had to kind of get validated in the past, previous resistance. And this right here, a massive gap that was left, right, for Qualcomm. So if you were to kind of look at this, it basically just left this gap and gapped up higher, you know. So usually when that happens, you know, patterns do come back down or go back up to kind of fill in this gap, and that's exactly what we're seeing with this coming all the way down to kind of fill in this channel. And the next support is going to be sitting roughly at 130, 132-ish, because that again has previously acted as a resistance here. You know, we'll see if that level gets validated today. So 130, 132, keep a close eye at that level. It's a very, very oversold. So you know, the R side of the MACD again coming down substantially, and we are down over 21% from all-time highs. So it's all about the valuation reset, right? So in this market, it's all about the valuation reset. At what point are these stocks going to start being attractive again? At what point Qualcomm is going to be really, really attractive to investors? At what point, you know, some of those tech stocks, high growth stocks, Lemonade, Nio, all these stocks are going to be attractive to investors. So unless we see that valuation reset, you know, this selling pressure could persist, unfortunately, which is why for the Nasdaq and the S&P, I would not be surprised if we do see or enter that correction territory, right? That's just the reality of the markets right now. All right, let's take a look at OCGN. I'm not really sure what that company does or what that company is, but we'll take a look at that. So up almost 9%. So on the daily candle, you guys will notice that this right here is a massive red candle, right? So if I were to kind of double click on this and kind of check this box, so colored bars based on previous close, even though it was a green day, the reason why it's showing as a red candle is because I have this unchecked. So if I check this box, it'll turn into green, right? But I personally like to keep this unchecked for all the candlesticks that I'm looking at, because it really goes to show the intraday pattern, right? The intraday events. So without even going over to the 5-minute chart or the 1-minute chart, I can already tell there was a lot of selling taking place. And this stock being up 9%, a lot of people took profits looking at the candle, because we opened much higher at close to $12, and it was trading as high as $14 at some point, but it ended up closing under 11, right around 1046, 1050. So fundamentally speaking, I need to do my research on this company and get a little bit of a better understanding of what this company does. But from a technical standpoint, you know, we already came back down to fill the gap. So just like we talked about Qualcomm, this right here was the gap that it left. But we came back down perfectly. So this is coming in on February 23rd. We came back down to fill in this channel before pushing higher once again. So the next support we need to watch for this stock, for Ocugen, is going to be sitting roughly at, is going to be sitting roughly at this level, at close to $9.22. A lot of support here, a lot of support here. We broke it down, a lot of support here as well. So that right there would potentially be the next support to watch for Ocugen moving forward. So again, a lot of validation at that level, a lot of validation at this support. So consistent validation, and then this was a resistance also in the past. So we'll see if that level gets validated. Right now the pattern is also looking like it's making some type of higher highs and higher lows. So in the short term, like 4-hour chart, you'll notice we are making some higher highs and higher lows as well. So that's a good ascending pattern. It's a good uptrending channel. We'll see if that level continues to get validated as well for the stock, right? So again, pushing higher, making higher highs, higher lows. This right here is kind of like an intersection for the ascending support, the horizontal support based on previous patterns, and also the moving averages. So I could see that level getting validated today at close to 920, 930. All right, so let's take a look at CTRM. I'm not sure what that is. Castor Maritime. Again, I haven't really looked into this company, so up over 1.88%, trading on the Nasdaq, less than $1. I mean, for this company, I'm just gonna do like a support level to watch at close to 83 cents. Let's go over to the 1 hour chart really quickly. We'll go over to CRM after this. Again, validated support here, previous resistance for the stock here. So that would be the level to watch moving forward today. It's been on a consistent downtrend, making lower highs, lower lows. You know, huge sell-off coming in. So it needs to break out of those moving averages. So the 21 EMA, the 50 EMA acting as a lot of resistance here. So basically got rejected here, getting rejected. So a breakout over this level is going to be very important. So let's take a look at CRM. Again, make sure that you guys drop a like. Let's see how many people we have. A little bit of 1,400. Again, let's see if we can get up to at least 1,000 likes on this video, right? So thank you so much for your guys' support and tuning in pre-market. We're going to talk about the markets for another like maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I'm going to break down a lot of stocks. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and you know, we can maybe make some money together, and hopefully the markets will recover. We'll see. Hopefully the markets stabilize. That's the most important thing. So CRM, again, a lot of rejection coming in, you know, because of the earnings. So that was the biggest reason why we saw a significant pullback. So you'll notice that we are down a little bit over 18, almost 19%. And it's been on this downtrending channel, right? It's been making lower highs, lower lows. It's been trading inside this downtrending channel. A lot of weakness for the pattern. So you'll notice coming down, pushing up, coming down, pushing up, coming down. So this right here has been a consistent pattern for the stock. And $229 is going to now, basically, these both levels are going to now start acting as a resistance, 219 and 229. But there's just been so much selling taking place, because a lot of, well, if you think about it, you know, this is at no fault of any of the retail investors or any of like any other asset managers as well. Like Kathy Wood, she's doubling down on all these dips for a lot of stocks. This is simply an institutional rotation out of tech, growth into some other value and cyclical reopening trades, right? So when that happens, they're basically just selling, raising capital to reallocate that money over to someplace else. That's all it is, right? Once they relocate back, once they have tech and growth become a little bit more attractive once again, then we're going to see another rally for tech. But until then, you know, it's a little bit of a tough market. So in 10 minutes, we're going to have that in unemployment numbers. US daily, top 2 million.
Summer, so that's good news. So hold off, you know, don't.
So, yep, CRM, you know, that support really needs to get validated. We are hitting some type of a lower low, coupled with that previous resistance. So, you know, we'll see if that level gets validated today. There's a lot of support levels. Like I said, there's a lot of support levels for a lot of stocks that if they don't get validated, then we could see some more weakness, unfortunately, for a lot of stocks. So that right there would be the level to watch. Let's go over to saw one recommendation here, PayPal. So PayPal also is a stock that we've covered on the channel, coming down hard, down over 5% yesterday, down over 1.4 pre-market, trading as low as 251. 247 is going to be the support to watch for PayPal. So 247, close to, I want to say 248-ish, like around that level, like right there. Previous resistance got rejected here, got rejected here. And then this right here, validated support, or resistance acting as a new support, acting as a new support. And 257 is going to be the next resistance for us to break out of in the short term. And of course, PayPal coming down hard from all-time highs, trading as high as 310. We are down, what, 19, almost 20%. So what do you guys think of PayPal? What do you guys think of PayPal and Square? And what do you think is a better long-term play here between PayPal and Square? We'll go over a lot of stocks once again. There's absolutely, you know, we'll go over AMD as well. We'll go over Palantir. We'll go over Square. We'll go over a lot of stocks as well. So what do you guys think of both PayPal and Square? Tesla's going to 400. Oh really? Square just opened the bank? Interesting. Is it like a Square branded bank, or is it like a third party bank that they partnered with or something? Or is it like a Square actual branded bank? So yeah, I mean, so in my main portfolio I have PayPal. I'm waiting for Square to kind of pull back a little bit, because we'll see if Square actually pulls back as well, right? That's the biggest. Sort of $215 is kind of like the level that I'm targeting to start building out a position in this, or even as low as $200 will be really, really attractive in my opinion. That's going to be kind of aligned with this higher high and higher low, like uptrending channel for Square as well, right? Looking at the daily chart, you'll notice that we have just been trading inside this uptrending channel, kind of pushing higher, and this was right here was like a blow off the top rally that we broke out, trade, and made new all-time highs as high as 282, right? So $215 is going to be the next support for Square. $200 is going to be a much stronger level of demand for Square. And for PayPal, the next support is going to be 248, and 257 is going to be the next sort of resistance. And right now, again, if you were to look at one thing, what's happening right now with the pattern? What's one thing that's getting validated still for PayPal? I want you guys to answer that in the live stream. What do you guys think is really, really critical for PayPal right now moving forward? Right? What is one thing that needs to happen for PayPal to stay in this uptrend? And right now it's not looking so good. The 50 EMA, yes, you're absolutely right. So the EMA still needs to get validated. Right now we're getting a lot of rejection from that 21 EMA, the white line, and that 50 EMA really needs to kind of validate. Right now pre-market we're trading below that, right? We're going to potentially gap down for PayPal, and that's going to create some problems. So the next support to watch is going to be at 248. We'll see if that level gets validated today or if not. All right, so let's actually pull up Twitter as well. By the way, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, definitely feel free to do that. I'm going to be using that platform more often to kind of look at or publish my research as well. And oh, this is the tweet. Stop trading. Ron Byrne has sold some Tesla. This is prudent. It was too big of a position for his fund. Interesting. You didn't really think stocks were that easy, right? Hang in there. This is a normal correction caused by higher rates. Fed hasn't done a thing, so we're all good. So, interesting day. Interesting stuff. Let's go over AMD really quickly. So AMD is really pulling back quite a bit. I mean, this has just been an absolute weakness for advanced micro devices. I mean, this is what I don't understand for advanced micro devices is that, they've got a huge guidance, 30 billion or 13 billion, 37% growth year over year. Let me actually see if I have my research on AMD as well right now. I probably don't. I may have removed it, but we'll see. No, this is not it. So yeah, all right. So but advanced micro devices, 37% growth is what we're going to see for 2021. They practically have no debt, and they've got increasing margins, great business model. I just don't understand why there's such a huge discrepancy. 1.78 billion off of 3.2 billion in revenue. Statistically, their price to sales is 10, which is reasonable compared to Amazon trading at price to sales of 4, Apple trading at 7 times sales. Their PE ratio, you can make an argument that it's a little bit higher, but again, if you were to look at some of these stocks, so let's go over to this one. Let's just take a screenshot of that and then I'll just go over that. So this right here are going to be some metrics, right? So we've covered this on the channel in the past, and again, it's very important for us to understand the valuations. That's the biggest thing in terms of right now, especially in the markets that we're in, is where the valuations are. Apple trading at 7 times sales, Amazon trading at 4 times sales, Facebook trading at 9 times sales, Square trading at 11 times, so it's a little bit on the high end. We've got AMD trading at 10 times. So that's the stock that we're trying to look into right now. And then we've got Netflix trading at 10 times sales also, right? Tesla, 21 times sales. So that's the biggest thing that people, well, this and this. So actually, let me go ahead and remove this once again. So these two metrics are the most talked about metrics from a lot of investors, is basically the price to sales and the PE ratio, right? So you'll notice 21 times sales and 1,000 times PE, right? So those are the two metrics that a lot of people talk about. For a lot of investors thinking that it's way too overvalued, but AMD trading at 41 times PE, but forward PE. I mean, I personally like to look at the forward price earnings ratio to kind of understand where the valuations are going based on the next 12 months worth of earnings. So Amazon trading at 47, right? Apple's trading at 26. Square trading at 123. That's even comparable with Tesla is like 164 and Square's at 125, 123, and Palantir is at 114. Palantir has the highest price to sales ratio out of the bunch, trading as 41. So that right there is one of the reasons why it's not moving that much, is price to sales is a little bit higher, right? It's richly valued. And PE, forward PE is at 114. And then we've got Nvidia, which is, if you were to kind of compare these two companies like Nvidia and AMD, I strongly believe, and I want you guys' opinion on this as well, like between PayPal and Square, we agree that both are really strong buys. And Nvidia and AMD are also great for the long term, but which one do you think has more growth potential in the future? Which one between Advanced Micro Devices and Nvidia has a lot of growth potential in the future, in your guys' opinion, right? So let's take a look at the jobless claims. Thank you for reminding.
Alongside Tom Keane, Lisa Gravitz, I'm Jonathan Ferro. Equity futures down 3.5 points on the S&P 500, down around about 0.1%. That data dropping imminently. Here's Mike McKee.
Well, John, we're just waiting for the numbers to come in here as everybody clicks on the Labor Department numbers as fast as possible. We can tell you the revisions to productivity are in negative 4.2% in the fourth quarter. That is better than the negative 4.7% forecast, but it's not going to move a lot of needles. The jobless claims number now out, 745,000. So just under the forecast of 750,000, that's up from 730's initial print last week, and it does suggest that what we saw was maybe a holiday and storm-induced decline in the jobless claims numbers during the week prior to this. So at this point, we're kind of on status quo in terms of jobless claims. They're coming in elevated above 700,000 and well above. That's about 100,000 above the highest we'd ever had before the pandemic.
Michael McKee, Econ 101. How do you dovetail
So
claims?
745,000
What's the correlation of
coming in, and this right here was the expectation for today. So let's take a look. So 750,000 was the expectation. So if you guys read this, 750,000. And then for tomorrow, remember there's 200,000. That's the expectation for how many people added on the jobs. For tomorrow for payroll, right? How many jobs we added in February, that's going to be 200,000. That's going to be very, very important as well. So again, going back to this chart, Square, Palantir, and these are some of the companies that actually come close to Tesla, right? Tesla is at 1,000 trailing PE, but again, I like to look at the forward PE, 164, and then price to book is 29. But again, talking about AMD and Nvidia, right? In my strong opinion, Nvidia did just over 16 billion in revenue fiscal year 2020, and AMD is going to be doing a little bit over 13 billion in 2021. So yes, they're a little bit behind in terms of the revenue, But I strongly believe that AMD has a lot more potential in the future than Nvidia does. They're trading at half the price of sales, and they're trading at half the PE. They're trading somewhat relatively okay at forward PE, which is why, this right here is a much bigger position that I have on advanced micro devices. Price to book, again, it was a little bit less if you were to compare that with Nvidia. Tesla, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Tesla? Tesla with the forward PE, with the trailing 12-month PE and the price of sales. What do you guys think? Is it overvalued? Is it undervalued? What do you guys think? Overvalued, undervalued, downside. And this right here is going to be kind of like the, let's take a look. Oh, all right. So, this is where Tesla is going to be, depending on, different prices. So it's like we have to pick our battles, right? 675, that's where Tesla is roughly. Like if you were to look at, let's take a look at Tesla, where it's at. So Tesla now somewhat in the greens, trading as high as 655, up about 35 basis points. But this right here is going to be the pullback, right? If it comes down to 525, then if that's going to be a 20, let's actually change that to 655 now. So there we go. So if it drops 20%, comes down to 525, then the trailing PE is going to be 820, but the forward PE is going to be somewhere 127. Price of sales is going to drop 4 times, right? Price of sales is going to come down to 16 times. If it drops down to 500, if it drops down to 475, drops down to 425, these are all going to be very, very important levels in terms of the valuation, right? Now, of course, we've got strong support at 650. In my strong opinion, we'll see if that level gets breached today. But if it goes to 900, then we're looking at a forward PE of 218, 1400 trailing PE, and 27 times sales. So that's the biggest concern that people had when it was testing 900. This right here was the biggest drawdown with Tesla's new all-time high was $900, right? And it was trading at 1400 PE and 218 times forward PE, 39 times price to book, 27 times EV to sales, and then 27 times price to sales. So that was richly valued. I would agree that at least right now, with a lot of things that need to come into fruition with the autonomous driving, a lot of growth that they have with the robo-taxis, solar energy, battery production, and then EVs, the install base, the tech, all that, insurance business, services, software, all that really needs to come into fruition to actually the valuation for it to make sense. So again, that's just my 2 cents on Tesla and Nvidia and AMD as well. And it looks like the markets are turning a little bit. So let me go ahead and go over to the SPYs. So we are pushing higher. We're pretty much flat pre-market, and coming in from 6:15 a.m. we are up over 68 basis points. All right, let's take a look at Airbnb. All right, so let's take a look at Airbnb, down about 5% the most recent day, down another 0.5%. So this right here is going to be the next support to watch for Airbnb right now, which is going to be sitting roughly at 176 or 175. Previous resistance here for Airbnb units, so that's going to be the level to watch. And then this right here, validated support here as well. And then if you were to kind of fast forward, you'll notice that we also validated that support here a couple times, and we are kind of hovering over that 200 simple moving average. So that right there will be the level to watch for Airbnb right now, close to 175, $176 per share. And the resistance, keep a close eye at close to 187, I want to say. Previous resistance here. All right, let's take a look at Nio. Let's see where it's trading. $40.21, down about 3%. we're still kind of hovering in between that level. So you know, that right there is going to be the next resistance now at close to $43.20. So boom, 30 at $60 or $38 or 30 at $50 needs to get validated today, or Nio needs to validate $40, because if you don't, I mean, that, you know, there's a lot of stocks out there that are testing some type of a support. So we need to see that support get validated, right? All right, so again, thank you so much for joining in, you guys. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. Let's see if we can get up to at least 700 likes. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We talk a lot about the fundamentals, the technicals for the broader markets, individual stocks as well. Steve, I would personally consider JP Morgan as a bank, like as an investment, or as you're talking about as a stock, right? Just for clarification, I would personally consider JP Morgan as one of the strongest banks, and then of course some fintech companies like Square and PayPal would be huge as we move towards the digitization of transfer of money, cash flows, transactions, so on and so forth. Nio did not touch 38, it touched $39 pre-market. So that's the support that we're talking about, that's the support that it needs to get validated at. And kind of exhaust that selling pressure, because it's just been selling off so much. Again, this was the complete analysis. If you guys want to check it out, it's on my channel, one of the videos that I did. Validated support here. Like, look at this ascending line, right? That's going to be the higher lows for Nio, which it was validating here, coming in from September. This right in October, this right here, October 26th. Double validation. And the real breakdown happened on February 22nd, right? Yes, Steve. So I think JP Morgan is going to be one of the banks that I would personally look into, because I think they're ahead of the game when it comes to a little bit of incorporating some blockchain and some digital currency. So this right here, the red circle you guys see, the February 22nd was the biggest shift in the pattern for Nio, because we sold off below the moving averages. Let me actually bring up the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA. So yeah. We broke down below the 50 EMA. That's going to be this purple line you guys see on the chart. And that's really what shifted the pattern, because in the past, that 50 EMA, perfect validation of that support. And right now, there's a lot of weakness for Nio right now. So again, we've covered Tesla. We've covered a lot of stocks, so you guys can definitely check that out as well. Consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, Cheryl. I really appreciate that. And then we'll cover a lot of different stocks as well. Yeah, so $38.50, $39 is going to be the next sort of support level to watch for Nio moving forward. Let's take a look at SQQQs. We definitely had a solid day yesterday of over 8%, and looks like we are breaking out of that 50 EMA for the Qs. But again, it's kind of irrelevant to kind of map out those support and resistance levels for this, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about what levels to watch. I mean, I could go over specific price targets, but this is again a derivative. It's not tied to anything. It's not tied to any holdings or these stocks, because it's directly tied to the Nasdaq, right? If the Nasdaq goes up and down, this thing is going to go up and down 3 times the daily return, right? That's the target of these inverse ETFs. They're never recommended to be held long term. These are not sort of like a long term investment, because they have a lot of decay, a lot of volatility, a lot of aggressive moves in the markets. This is only a short term hedge if you are taking that that sort of leverage factor into play. So these are short term hedge positions that you can take to kind of stabilize the portfolio a little bit. I personally do not do that. It's very, very difficult to kind of time the market that way. And I also actually checked out a video where somebody was talking about the TVIX, right? That's going to be ticker symbol TVIX. Big story behind this, and it was the most hilarious video I've actually watched. It was on YouTube. Can't remember who posted it, but they basically put out all the stats for TVIX, right? And this thing has just gone from like a price of, over, I want to say like over 979. All the way down here. So this thing pops when the VIX pops and when there's a drop in the S&P, it has that inverse relationship as well. But we're not going to go over all those crazy things. So, all right. All right, let's take a look at some of the other stocks. Beam, let's take a look at Beam. A lot of, it's down over 9% as the most recent trading day. We broke down below the moving averages. DNA-based editing technologies for the treatment of human disease. Is it in like one of the ARK funds, Satya? Is Beam in one of the ARK funds? So again, fundamentally, I haven't looked into this company, so we'll see what that actually looks like. Let me actually take a look at what Bloomberg is reporting right now. All right. So all right, guys, we got like 45 minutes till the market open. So $25 pre-market, that's great. We'll see how that does. So this right here is going to be Palantir. Pushing up over 6%. Okay, not bad. Over $25, right? That's going to be the level to watch. We'll see if we break out over that level for Palantir. We'll see. We're kind of still hovering over that 25, 25.7. You know, the 21 EMA acting as so much resistance. Previous support, so much resistance here. So we'll see if that level gets validated. If we actually break out over that resistance. But for Beam, you know, there's a shift in the pattern. There's definitely a cause for concern here because we are down quite a bit from all-time highs, a little bit over 35%. The RSI has been selling off as well, so right now we're not quite oversold yet. But I would watch this support at close to 77. So that's going to be the level to watch right here. All the way as low as $67 per share. So that's going to be the level below this to watch for Beam. Let's take a look at CLSK, Clean Spark. Again, I haven't really looked into Clean Spark as well from a fundamental standpoint, but from a technical perspective, it's validating the support at close to $24. So again, a lot of support at that level. For everybody new joining, let's discuss Nio. That's what we've been doing for the past like 30 minutes. But again, go back and watch those videos like Tesla. We covered, well, Tesla we haven't covered yet, but Nio, Palantir, Apple, Amazon. We've covered Workhorse. We've covered a lot of different stocks. You guys are more than welcome to go back a little bit. And you guys crack me up. So this right here is going to be support at close to $23 as well. Again, a lot of support here for this stock, which is going to be CLSK, and validated support here. So that right there would be the next area of demand, in my opinion, for this company at close to $24. And right now, I mean, it's kind of tough to say because we're still validating that 50 EMA, but I'm assuming we are trading below the 21s. Yep, so we're still kind of struggling at that 21, so we really need to break out over that level to see some more validation. It's kind of a weird pattern for this. So I mean, I could see some lower highs being formed for this stock because we are, again, depending on how you kind of measure that, if you were to take into account these, so you can make an argument that, you know, there's a lower high here, there's a lower high here, there's a lower high here, and we're also making a lower high here. But again, if you were to kind of validate that from this perspective, then you can make an argument that it's a little bit further out. So I'm actually going to go ahead and kind of map this out because that's a more realistic. We've got more touch points for CLSK, like boom here, another retest, another retest, another retest. So that right there would be the kind of like the level that it's trading in, like a descending triangle making lower highs and a horizontal support. All right, let's go over to Tesla. We're gonna go over to Tesla. Palantir is up over 6%. We're seeing some rebounds. Tesla is at up pre-market. It's up 0.5%. We're trading or close to 24 basis points. Trading as high as 654. So this right here, $650 needs to act as a support today. We'll see if that level gets validated or if you do see a further breakdown below that support, right? Let me bring up the article that we broke down yesterday. So let's take a look at what is it? UBS Tesla. So this right here was the article. So Tesla will be the most profitable player in electric vehicles for years to come, UBS analyst says. Will be the most profitable EV maker in 2025 by far. Elon Musk automaker will realize $20 billion in operating profits that year. So, okay, so, alright, so they estimate Tesla will sell 2.3 million EVs that year and turn an operating profit of 20 billion in 2025, right? That's what our estimate was. Let's take a look. So I was estimating 2025 at close to 2.4 million vehicles. So for Tesla, my projection, again, this is my analysis. You don't have to go by this. You're more than welcome to do your analysis as well. But fundamentally speaking, like deliveries, I was expecting growing at a 37%, I think 50%, to close to 2.23 million, and they have an estimate of, let's see, 2.3. Okay, so we're almost identical with the estimate of close to 2.2, 2.3 million. I'm expecting a net income of roughly $22.2 billion. So that's going to be my net income forecast. So they're expecting an operating profit of 20 billion. So I may be off by a little bit on that. Roughly 1.6 billion off of 31.1 billion revenue. We estimate that 9 billion of the 20 billion operating profit is directly related to monetization of Tesla's software capabilities, mainly full self-driving, the analyst said. And FSDs isn't capable of making cars fully autonomous yet, but Tesla bulls say that it has the potential to dramatically boost the company's profits. For instance, Tesla could realize huge gains if it follows through on its promise to establish a network of autonomous taxis. And the analysts predicted that in the long term, EV-focused companies like Tesla will continue to widen their technology lead over traditional automakers. Legacy manufacturers will lose the market share as consumers choose more advanced products. So this is actually a different article. They actually did put out a price target of, I think, close to $730 billion. But again, going over to my analysis, and of course, this is an unpopular opinion a little bit because I'm not factoring in a lot of EVs and autonomous into this. So 126 revenue, net income 22 billion, considering that there's exactly the same shares outstanding. We're trading at 45 times 2025 PE. The price target and the market cap were sitting just over, like the price target over $1,000, market cap over 1 trillion. This is not factoring in autonomous and FSDs. Like if that were to come into play, we could see a much significant push higher in terms of these estimates and re-ratings, right? So we'll see how that turns up. But again, Tesla technicals, 650 is going to be the support level to watch today. It's very, very important. We'll see if that level gets validated. The low for yesterday was 651. Something that we also talked about in my yesterday's update on Tesla. And let's go over to Tesla on this chart, see if there's anything different. So yeah, I mean, there's not really much to go over other than the fact that there's been a lot of rejection and a lot of supply for Tesla's shares. Tesla target today, it's kind of hard to say. It depends on the broader markets, right? It depends on the S&P, it depends on the QQQs and where they end up. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is the market going up or down today? Let me know in the live stream. Let's see, we have a little bit over 1,200 people watching. So again, definitely make sure that you drop a like. Let's see if we can get up to at least 1,000 likes. I really, really appreciate you guys. But let me know if the markets, what do you guys think? What is your analysis? Is the markets going up or down? Down, going up, down. Consolidation, I like that. Consolidation should be good for the markets. That's true. Last time Powell talked, it went up, so that could be a catalyst for the markets. So let's take a look at what Bloomberg has to say.
To lift that blocking of the middle seat come May?
Well, we're blocking it through April. We'll be deciding soon and announcing soon what our plans are as we head into the spring and early summer. At some point, clearly, we're going to start to sell those middle seats. Demand will require it, but we don't want to stop short.
All right, let's try to establish what's the best valuation metric that Tesla can provide us with. And let's just answer this question right here. What's the best dip buy for Tesla, right? Laxman, thank you for the question. Let's try to understand what the valuation is going to look like, and I want your guys' opinion and help on this as well. Now, if Tesla were to drop, let's say, 35%, come down to 425, I honestly think a price to sales ratio of 13 and a forward PE of 103 is very, it's reasonable. It's not the best, but it's okay of a valuation that when you price in all these different things, it starts to really have an appeal. But what do you guys think, right? This right here is kind of like the level that I'm looking at, and of course it's going to absolutely be very, very unfortunate to see Tesla down down to 425 or 35%, but that's kind of like the worst case scenario that I'm pricing in for Tesla. And what do you guys think? And that's also going to put us it's going to put us below square in price to sales, or roughly a little bit higher than price to sales, and forward PE of 103. We're going to be trading roughly at around, I want to say, a little bit over twice of Netflix and twice of Amazon, considering the growth. Steve, yeah, that's a great point. Yes, so Citigroup, that's good to know that Citigroup and HSBC are working towards blockchain as well. JP Morgan, I knew that they were working towards that as well. So yeah, that's great to know as well in terms of some value and some cyclical plays as well. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a big drop, but that's kind of like the worst case scenario where I feel like the valuation will really, really be something that nobody's going to pass up on Tesla. But more likely scenarios right now, we are at 655. Let's go over to 650 here. 20 times sales is where we're trading, and these are going to be some of those other valuation metrics. I mean, it's not even worth doing like a DCF model or a discounted cash flow model for Tesla, because we don't know what the cash flow is going to look like. It's very difficult to kind of project future cash flows considering everything that the business is going to be doing. So that's exactly why I'm looking at some of these other valuation metrics as opposed to like a regular discounted cash flow model. And the company doesn't pay a dividend, so we can't really do a dividend discount model either. So all right, let's take a look at the SPYs. So the S&P down about 4 basis points, still kind of hovering around 380s. We've got about 30 minutes left till the markets open. And again, $380 somewhat getting validated here. So we'll see if that level continues to get validated, or if we break it down below that support, right? All we really need right now is consolidation. And then the Qs are getting bought up, but we need to break out over 310, I want to say 309, previous support, previous resistance. So we are somewhat at that level once again. So we'll see how the Qs trade. We're still making lower highs and lower lows. There's a lot of weakness, there's a lot of rejection at those levels. Yeah, I mean, the next support for Nio is going to be under 30, right? So is it this chart that we broke down yesterday? I think it was chart number 2. So we'll talk about Nio over here. All right, so yeah, I mean, the next support is going to be sitting roughly at $29 to $30 per share for Nio stock. So that's actually a great question. Where was it? So if the support on 38 gets broken with Nio, would you recommend to sell? Next support is under 30. So all right. So with any stock or any investment that you guys are making in any stocks, the only time the thesis actually changes is when there's a fundamental shift in the business. So if the revenues change, if the growth projections drastically change, if there's a change in the management, the fundamental story changes, then yes, I mean, it would make sense why you want to cut or trim your position depending on your situation. But if this stock comes down strictly on the market weakness and on a technical standpoint, why consider trimming your position or selling? And if anything, if the fundamental growth story still is intact, and if Nio is still positioned well to take advantage of the future success of Chinese EV, the growing market, and around the world. In fact, they have a catalyst coming up later this month for Move America Agenda. If anything, you'd buy more, right? If you have a high conviction on that play. Again, unless the fundamentals drastically change, unless the management drastically change, that's when, that is a little bit different than your own thesis, right? That's when you would want to consider maybe trimming your position, maybe exiting out of your position for some of those stocks. But if all these are pulling back simply because of interest rates and inflation fears, and on a technical correction standpoint, then yes, I mean, that's going to be a big reason as to why you would want to double down. And that's what ARK Invest is also doing. That's what a lot of people are doing, is that they're just buying more. In fact, we just broke down Nio's craziest statistic, right? What did you guys make of that? Like less than 1% of Nio shareholders currently in the red was absolutely crazy to think about, right? So in terms of ARKK, I mean, it's been going down quite a bit because of Tesla, right? It's got such a heavy weighting on Tesla. Actually, let me pull it up. I think the last time we checked those was back when we did the last live stream. So let me go ahead and pull up, their holdings and see what their weightings look like for Tesla, for some of these other stocks as well. The last time I checked, it was a little bit over 10% for Tesla. I was sitting at 10.7%. How do you feel about Chinese companies trading on the U.S. markets, them not adhering to Sarbanes-Oxley and fudging their numbers? I mean, that's a great point, and we had the delisting bill that was signed, by President Trump, former President Trump, and that was one of the biggest risk factors for a lot of companies, right? Alibaba, Nio, XPeng, Li Auto. There's a lot of companies that are listed on the U.S. markets. There's always a risk, right? If you're investing overseas, like if you're someone from the U.S. investing in Indian markets or Chinese market, yes, there's always going to be risk. If you're someone from China or India investing in the U.S. markets, there's always going to be risk because there's so much, geopolitical and so much trade tension between so many countries, and we don't want to go over into that. But in my strong opinion, there's going to be one-off moments. I mean, there's going to be, and it happens, honestly, it happens everywhere. Like I'm currently in India, like I'm here, and it happens in India too, right? There's companies that do basically misrepresent their numbers, misrepresent their financials, and it's not just a thing that happens for Chinese companies. Unfortunately, it happens everywhere in the world, right? It happens pretty much for a lot of companies. So that's just the case. And if you're not going to willing to be able to take that risk, then there's a lot of other opportunities out in the market as well. So let's take a look at the fund holdings for ARKK. But I honestly think that's going to be a one-off moment, and Alibaba and Nio are some companies that are adhering to those things. So Tesla sitting at 10.07, and then Square sitting at 6%. So 16% of their portfolio for ARKK is going to be Tesla and Square. So if those companies pull back, then definitely, it's going to be a big drop in ARKK funds. Shamat is pretty confident that Tesla will soon reach 1,500 due to the plethora of innovation future of Starlink IPO. What do you think Shamat is right? Honestly, I really need to understand what the valuation standpoint, like why is he saying 1,500? And then, of course, I mean, I'm really bullish on Tesla as well. I want Tesla to go up to over 2,000 and to the moon. And in fact, we also brought on Daniel Ives from Vedbridge Securities on the channel. You guys are more than welcome to watch that video where we covered Apple, we covered EVs, we covered Tesla, and he has a price target, a base case price target of $950 and a bull case target of $1,250, right? $1,250 as a bull case target and a base case of $950. And he sees the EV market growing to $5 trillion market. Apple having a 5% share of that market, pretty much a reasonable amount, and it's going to add $200 or $250 billion market cap to Apple, and he sees that going to $3 trillion. So over the long term, I completely agree that Tesla has the potential to go over past 1 trillion, considering that it's a big going to be a tech company in the future, right? It's going to compete with the likes of Amazon, with the likes of Apple, with the likes of Facebook, and some of those other tech companies as well. The only thing that's changed recently and after 2020 is the timeline. It's the timeline. So when the timeline gets stretched, that's when the biggest question comes into play, is the opportunity cost, right? So are you willing to invest in Tesla for the long term while Tesla kind of stalls, stabilizes, consolidates, it's not really going to do anything? Is it okay for you to stay invested? And there's going to be opportunity costs for that too, right? Financials, energy, they're going up, and you could basically be invested in those, take advantage of that alpha, and then switch back over to Tesla. But the only drawback is, do you really want to time the market? Do you really want to basically, close out of your Tesla position to go over to something else? So that's the biggest thing is, Steve, that's a great question. I've personally, not invested in the Indian market. That's something that I'm really looking forward to. I'm researching a lot of companies, so I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of analysis on that as well. I have a question. Is there a reason why I can't withdraw money within my Roth IRA? It really depends. Again, this is not personal financial advice. I would highly encourage you to consult a professional for that. But I know with the Roth IRA, there's a certain limits that you can, if you're not 60 or 59 and a half years old, they don't allow you to take money out, because with Roth IRA, you're basically investing, I believe, with after-tax dollars, and you're having it grow tax-free. But again, I'm not a financial or tax advisor. I would definitely talk to one and then talk to your broker as well. But I think there's going to be some penalties, and then you're going to have to pay some taxes if you are withdrawing that earlier as well. So, all right, let's take a look at the markets. Enough with a lot of the valuation talk, but let's take a look at how many people we have. Again, thank you so much, you guys, for joining in. I really appreciate that. Let's get up to at least 1,000 likes. We're only 110 away from that. So again, thank you so much for joining in. Let's take a look.
But to the Treasury Department, selling fewer T-bills, running down its cash balance, makes it harder to get collateral. Powell may say the Fed is watching it closely, particularly keeping an eye on the Fed funds effective rate. If that starts to go down, they could take action to try to prop that up. But don't expect commitments. The next Fed meeting's still 2 weeks away.
Mike, 2 weeks to go. What do you make of that messy ISM yesterday? What's your read on that?
Well, the mess was really in the prices paid, because we saw a big jump in services prices, which is unusual given the state of the services industry. And so at this point, you got to keep an eye on that. The issue is, again, though, is this a supply problem that is going to be solved eventually, and we're going to see inflation rise, as the Fed expects, and then fall back again, as the Fed expects.
Mike McKee, some people expect maybe it keeps climbing. Mike, great to catch up with you, sir, as always. Your expectations for GDP, looking at the terminal screen right now, ECF.
So again, interest rates, inflation, two of the best, two of the really important indicators to watch. Sandy, thank you so much. Definitely make sure that you guys drop a like button. It really helps out. All right, let's take a look at where inflation is sitting, if you can find that data right now. So percentage change in GDP, Q4 2020, which was over 2%, and then Q3 was 3.5%. I think we had the biggest drop in GDP as well. Let's look at consumer spending, income and saving, and then we'll look at employment as well. So consumer spending was actually down. It's picked up a little bit in January, so 2.4% for that month. And this right here is going to be personal income. Personal income is actually going up, so it shot up over 10% because of the fiscal stimulus. So again, a lot of personal income getting, and that's one of the reasons why we're seeing, like, cash, checking account, money market accounts being flooded with so much buying power and so much firepower is one of the biggest reasons. So, all right, let's take a look at the markets. Nio down, trading as low as $40, down about 3.5%. So pre-market, let's take a look. GameStop up over 1.7%. We've got JP Morgan up over 11 basis points. We've got Wynn Resorts up over 1%. Alibaba down about 1%. Uber up over 11. United Airlines up over 44 basis points. Chevron up over 77 basis points. Carnival pushing up over 2% pre-market. So it's definitely pushing higher pre-market once again. Here, let me actually. Yeah, I've never used Webull before to look at the markets. But Bank of America up. So this right here is going to be Webull. The other one is going to be TradingView. Pfizer up, down about 32 basis points pre-market. American Airlines up over 68 basis points. There's not really much moving pre-market. Palantir is the only one that's up over 5% here. So actually, let me see 1 minute. Oh, extended hours. All right, gotcha. So yep, that's gonna be Palantir right now. Let's see. Visa is also down a little bit. Pre-market, what else is moving? Fiverr is up over 2%. Google is slightly up. Amazon is slightly up. And then we've got Zoom Video up over 38 basis points as well. Austin, cruise and energy poised for swing trade opportunities. I agree. There's going to be a lot of opportunities in like cyclical reopening trade. Riot is down over 2.6%. Let's take a look at where Bitcoin is trading as well. That's going to be very important for the markets, cryptos. So Bitcoin is down about 1.8%. We are pulling back for cryptos as well. So this is going to be the main chart. So complete. We had a pullback down to the 50 EMA, validated that support before pushing higher as well. So is there anything else that's moving? Anything else that's up by a lot pre-market? We can take a look at that. If there's any stocks that you want me to look into pre-market that are up by a lot or down by a lot, we can look at that as well. When will the EV sector recover, Ming? That's the question. That's an interesting question. It really depends on the global chip supply, and that's the shortage that we're seeing for the broader markets, right? So that's one of the biggest reasons why we're seeing such a. Merlin, Caddy, we need to exhaust selling pressure. We do. We really need to exhaust selling pressure and stabilize. Consolidate a little bit. All right, let's take a look at NNDM. So NNDM is down a little bit over 2% pre-market. Somewhat validating that 850 level pre-market, so that's the level to watch. So like right there, 850-ish. Let's go over to the 5-minute chart. And you'll notice that level also somewhat acted as some type of a support in the past, right? Previous support here, we pushed up, we broke it down, we are pushing higher. So, there's a lot of buying pre-market. I mean, this is March 4th. Yeah, this is March 4th, right? Today is March 4th. Yeah. So, a lot of buying taking place. I mean, we gapped down heavily. Like, we gapped down all the way as low as 783, and we are up substantially, right? For NNDM, Nano Dimensions. So let me actually break down Nano Dimensions here. So 788 or 750 is going to be somewhat of a support. Previous resistance, new support here. And then of course $11 is going to start acting as a new resistance once again. So for Nano Dimensions, again, the pattern has shifted. We are trading below these moving averages. So the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA, we are trading below that. and the next support that it needs to kind of validate is going to be sitting roughly at 788. We've got 18 minutes till the market's open. I hope you guys are excited. We're going to quickly go over. Let's check out. Snow is, I think, down by a lot, right? I think it was down pre-market quite heavily. I think it was down over 8%. Pre-market, it's up over 3.7. All right, so 240 is going to be the level to watch. 265 is the resistance it needs to break out of moving forward. So 264, 265, previous resistance, all support. And that's the level that we need to break out of. Of course, the moving averages are also going to play a huge role for Snowflake as well. So let's take a look at some other stocks and also take a look at where or what Bloomberg is reporting.
Carbon capture and new technologies.
So oil.
Green oil. Well, joining me now, the man behind it, Darren Woods, CEO and Chairman of Exxon. Darren, it is a sincere pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you for joining
CEO of
me.
ExxonMobil, guys.
Thank you, Alex. Glad to be here.
Oh, like I said, investors really like what you guys are doing. The criticism over the last 24 hours, however, with analysts is that they think you're going to be increasing your CapEx in 2022 sequentially. And the big question is, why do that if investors love what you're doing right now?
Well, we put out a story yesterday as we talked to the investors about both the near, medium, and long-term challenges facing the business and how we are trying to strike the balance between what's going to be needed in the short term, the medium term, and the long term. As you mentioned in the Investor Day, we started the discussion by talking about what the future would hold out to 2040. We used the intergovernment panels on climate change, the UN's body, who's kind of an authoritative body around climate change, to look at 2040 and the energy systems there. And the point we made was even in 2040, in a 2-degree world, that the energy system was still going to be made up of almost 50% oil and gas. And so there is a continuing need for oil and gas, particularly in hard to decarbonize sectors of the economy. Yeah. And so if you couple that need with the depletion curve, so as we produce oil and gas, the supply declines, and that depletion curve takes you out to 2040. If there are no more investments in oil and gas, we won't have enough oil and gas to meet the needs even in a 2-degree world. And so part of our plans are focused on making sure that we're making the investments in advantaged projects so that we'll have the production needed by society as we work
you won't be alive in 2040
to a lower carbon economy.
Yeah, Darren, I don't think that the worry is that you weren't going to be investing. I think it was the rate with which you were going to be investing, and that why not wait 2 to 3 years, go for growth a little bit later, and just focus on the balance sheet and dividend instead.
Well, if you look at the charts that we presented yesterday, one of the points that we made is the investments that we're making between now, 2021, and 2025. When you get to 2025, 40% of the cash available to the corporation will be from those investments that start up in that 21 to 25 time frame. So that just illustrates the importance of investing to offset the depletion curve. At the same time, we're high grading our investment portfolio. So we're actually not growing volume in the plans. Our plans basically call for relatively flat volumes, but improved productivity, higher earnings, and higher cash flow for the volumes that we're producing. So it's not so much of a volume growth story, it's an earnings and cash flow growth story.
So one more question on this one. Some of the activist investors that have been involved, like D.E. Shaw, they had wanted even a lower CapEx than you guys even came out for this year. They support the new board nominations, etc. Do you anticipate, though, maybe more of a focus on cutting CapEx from the new board with a different set of priorities?
I think, the challenge in this space is, and I've used it many times before, striking the balance. If you look at the priorities that we have as a corporation with respect to capital allocation, first of all, making sure that we have a pipeline to grow to offset the depletion in the business and to make sure that we're evolving and meeting the demands of society as those continue to evolve. So the investments that we're making today, we're investing in refineries that change the production profile to match the evolving demands in society. We're investing in chemicals to make products that support modern life and are continuing to grow. And then we're investing in more profitable barrels, lower cost of supply to compete in a long market. And so those three priorities within our investment portfolio end up with
ExxonMobil is moving up quite a bit pre-market. So it's up a little bit over 1.5%. And Chevron, let's take a look. So up over 80 basis points. We've got Alibaba, United Airlines. Let's look at some of the other stocks. We've got about... I'm going to put myself back here. So we got about 13 minutes till market opens. We'll see how this goes over, and we're actually going to set up the charts. So I'm going to go over to this, and we're going to talk about what stocks. All right, so let's take a look at what stocks you guys want me to put in for all these four. So we're going to put four charts here, top left, top right. Let's see how many people we have watching. So 1,200, again, make sure that you guys drop a like. Let's see if we can get 20 more likes. 20 more likes in 2,000. And then we'll add four charts, across the board for top left, top right, and then bottom left, bottom right. So again, AMD is going to be up here. Let's take a look at advanced micro devices here. Let's put Nio over here. Let's put Tesla down below. And then we're going to put Palantir over here. So Tesla, Nio, Palantir, and AMD. And we're going to also create another chart here to put the broader markets, right? So SPY is going to be over here. We're going to put the Qs over here. I'm just going to put two charts here. So again, we are kind of recovering a little bit, so we'll see how the markets kind of feel out the yields and feel out everything that's going on in the broader markets with Jerome Powell speaking later today. So all that is going to get priced in fairly quickly. So again, interesting day ahead. And I don't know if I have the earnings calendar with me. Let me take a look if there's any companies reporting their earnings. Let's see if I can find that. This right here are going to be some of the live, the earnings that are going to be coming up. So let's take a look at today's Thursday. Let's take a look. So I think everyone, there's anything that we can kind of check out. So we got the SPY, we got the Qs. Who is reporting after hours? I think Jerome Powell is again going to reiterate, the low interest rate environment and the fact that they're not worried about inflation right now. It's going to be very, very important. Because in the past, we know, like last week when he was speaking, the markets did push up a little bit, and then they were kind of selling off once again. And this right here is going to be the 5-minute chart, or let's just go over to the 1-minute chart for pretty much everything. So Nio down about 3%. This right here is going to be advanced micro devices, down about 45 basis points. This right here is going to be Tesla, our EV. And this right here is going to be Palantir. So we're up a little bit over 4%, almost 5% for Palantir. We'll see if these gains kind of hold up, or if you do see a little bit of a pullback. Right now we are seeing a pullback for Palantir a little bit. So SPY and QQQ, got about 8 minutes till the markets open. Are you guys excited? Are you guys excited for the markets to open today? Or no? What is the next level of support for Apple? It's going to be at 120. 120 needs to get validated for Apple. Nio needs to kind of get validated at $38.50 to $39 per share, close to 40, I would say. So inside that range for Nio. So like kind of like in this demand area between 38 and 40 levels. For Tesla, close to 650 is the first level. 650 has been getting validated recently, so we'll see if that level continues to hold up. Nio getting clapped every day. Absolutely. It is. Let's take a look at pre-market. ExxonMobil up over 1.7% now as the CEO and chairman is speaking on Bloomberg. But pre-market, you guys will notice that pretty much Unity Software is down over 1.5%. ARKG is down 1.8%. So again, ARKG absolutely taking a beating with a lot of these genomic plays coming down hard from over $9,700 per share, and absolutely has been selling off quite a bit. So looking at the 30-minute chart, you guys will notice that it has been just down from over $98 on March 2nd. So we'll see if that level, you know, if we see any type of rebound for ARKG. Yes, the VIX is also really high, so thank you for reminding me that. We've broken it down in our previous videos as well for the volatility. So that's going to be ticker symbol VIX, and volatility has a really strong support at 20, right? So that's the level that we've been watching consistently, and right now it's at 26. So if I were to kind of map out this support between 20 and sort of like this 25, 24 levels, you know, it's one of those areas where there's a lot of demand. There's every time the VIX kind of curls back in over that 20 levels, it pops, comes back down, consolidates, pops, right? So until we trade below this 20 level, you know, I'm really not comfortable giving you guys like a signal where it's like, you know, we're in the clear. Right now the fear is still kind of on the table and it hasn't subsided yet. So we'll see where we end up for the VIX. And then let's take a look. Nio now getting bought up a little bit. You know, we're down only about 2.8%. There is some buying pressure coming in. The low for pre-market was roughly at $40. Tesla making some moves. Look at that. Up over 1.3%, trading is at 661. We'll see if those levels continue to get validated. Palantir up over 5% now. So, you know, we are pushing higher a little bit. So we've talked about Tesla's valuation. We've talked about the fundamentals for Nio and Tesla. The only thing that we need to understand is stay confident in this market, right? There's going to be a lot of punches that are going to be thrown, especially from bears and the sellers and short sellers and stuff like that. But it's all about the long-term growth play here. It's all about having the right mindset about investing and not kind of giving in on the fear on the markets. We know that, you know, it can be really unfortunate when the markets are pulling back, but that's just how all the markets work, and they have worked over the last, you know, hundreds of years or like decades. So all right, so S&P, is it pulling up a little bit? Pretty much flat. The Q's down about 5 basis points, so we're opening flat. We'll see where the markets trade intraday. Apple we have covered on the channel. So again, you're more than welcome to go back on the live stream. ARK Invest is ARKG down about 1.7. Square's down quite heavily as well, a little bit over 1.6% pre-market. Let's go over to the 1 minute chart here. So Nvidia down about 0.5%. Snowflake is up close to 4%. We've got Fiverr also up over 2%. TJX is up 2.5%. But everything else is down quite a bit. ACTC, they're going to be merging with Proterra very soon. I think so. So 1.7% down. Nio down 3.5%, and SPCE Virgin Galactic is also down close to 3%. But it has been going up, or actually, is it? Let's go over to the 30-minute. Nope, it has been pulling back quite a bit, so we are down from $47 on to 30. Microvision is down over 4%. Intel still kind of trading sideways, pretty much flat. We'll see where that ends up on the day, but yes, Shopify is a great. Alex, thank you for bringing that to my attention once again. Shopify is a really, really strong company in my opinion. I mean, it's I think we've covered that on the channel in the past, but you know, it has been selling off quite a bit. No doubt about that. It's trading as low as 1200, down another 1% today. You know, the 21 EMA on the weeklies, again, getting validated here, getting validated here. So if you do see a retest down to 1165, that would be a really good support for Shopify, all the way as low as this 50 EMA, which is going to be sitting under $1,000 for Shopify. So we've got about 3 minutes left for the markets to open. Nio getting bought up a little bit. We're down only about 2.7% now. Palantir is still kind of struggling at this $25 level. What is it about Palantir at $25? It just cannot sort of validate that or sort of break out of that resistance. So AMD is selling off a little bit, and so is Tesla. Somebody's speaking right now. So we did see some type of a pullback. Let's take a look at SPYs and the Qs. We did see some type of a downtick. Let's take a look at the yields. So the 10-year yields are down 1%. So 1 more minute and the markets will be live. We will be on. $30 more seconds, you guys. We'll see how everything turns out, and if you can see any type of buying pressure take place, any type of a recovery, or if we do see the markets pull back and sell off again. All right, we are live. So the markets are pulling back a little bit. Let me actually bring that up. So the S&P pushing up a little bit. The Q's still struggling slightly. All right, what is in the green yet? Let's refresh this. Palantir up over 4.7. We've got where did the chart go? All right, we'll just look at it over here. So look at that, massive amount of volume coming in. So Nio is down about 1.5% now. Tesla is also getting bought up. I honestly don't like when the markets are pushing higher, like as soon as the markets open, right? Because then we lead to more further sell-off intraday. But we'll see. Nio right now is still kind of getting bought up a little bit. We'll see if that recovery actually happens. Let's go over to our main watch list. AMD trying to push up higher. We got Palantir still kind of struggling a little bit. Nio up over $41 now, down about just 1%. And Tesla also up close to 2% now, struggling at 665, 667. So we'll see. No voice? Can you guys not hear me right now? I hope you guys can hear me, right? So, okay, good. Yeah, Palantir is just getting rejected at 25. Like, look at the high for the day, 24.90. Like, that $25 is just that level that we need to kind of break out of for Palantir. Tesla pushing higher, 1.7. AMD also getting bought up a little bit. Nio also pushing higher. Wow. So that's a pretty significant push higher, right, for Nio after validating like $40, $40.40. It's pretty crazy. Let's look at the SPYs and the Qs. Look at that. Massive amount of volume coming in and buying pressure coming in for the broader markets. The SPY is going to be on the left. The Qs are going to be on the right. And we are pushing. We're pushing, guys. We are pushing. There's some buying coming in. Again, this is going to be more of a recovery. The trend is still down. We're still making lower highs and lower lows. We're trading below the moving averages. So, this is more of like a sympathy recovery, so to speak. Palantir really struggling at that. Look at that. Drop down to 24.50 now. But Nio definitely pushing higher. We'll see if Nio actually turns green. Right now it's down still at 14 basis points. Let's take a look at some of the other stocks. Ooh, I think it just turned green for Nio. Palantir getting bought up as well. Look at Nio. Look at Nio go. It's getting bought up, coming in from like $40. That's an increase of over 4%, almost 5%. So, we'll see. So Facebook up over 1.2%, Nvidia up, Amazon, Visa, AMD. We've got Apple. And let's see what's in the red. Square is still kind of struggling at 230. Alright, Nio is up over 1% now. So we'll see. Also, every time I went to bed at night, I woke up to a really, really red market. That's what I commented in my last night's video. And people were like, don't go to bed. So maybe I won't go to bed ever. I'll be up until the markets hit a new all-time high. How about that, right? I'll not go to bed until the markets hit a new all-time high. Well, that's a little bit crazy because then I'll get really, it's not healthy. Yep, so the Nio gang, we are up a little bit over 77 basis points. I mean, we really have to see. Let me actually bring out the VWAPs as well to kind of see if that middle VWAP is going to get validated. So, inverted hammer just formed like a shooting star. You guys will notice that that just formed. So, I would not be surprised if this actually is a red candle for Nio because we were trading as high as what, 42.07, then we sold off a little bit. So, it needs to take a little bit of a breather before it pushes higher once again. Palantir coming back up stronger. 24.85. We'll see if $25 gets validated or not. SPYs and Qs pushing higher even more. SPYs up 43 basis points. Q is up 55, 0.5%. So I personally, I don't know about you guys, but I do not. By the way, the Patreon link is going to be down in the description below. And we do have a Discord, so you're right. Also, if you want to get access to my TradingView charts, which will automatically sync over to your charts as well. So you'll get access, you'll get a specific link to our TradingView charts, and the analysis will automatically sync every time I make changes. The Discord is also going to be available, and the growth portfolio is also going to be available as well. So the Patreon link, again, is going to be down in the description below if you want to get started and get more involved with our community. But let's see, Palantir still struggling at 24.90, the high for this candle. 24.90, right? So the high, double top high for that level. Nio still pushing higher, up over 42, almost 1.5%. Tesla getting bought up a little bit, 1.89% in the greens. Let's take a look at some of the other stocks as well. So let's kind of refresh this. We've got Palantir up over 5, GE up over 4%. We've got Fiverr up over 2, Nio up over 2. C3AI is also up in the green, finally up over 2%. Nio up over 2%. Zoom Video, Tesla, AT&T, Alphabet, Visa. And then in the red, we've got PayPal, we've got Corsair Gaming, we've got RH, Shopify, Unity Software, Wayfair, Square, ChargePoint. ChargePoint's down 2% again. And then we got Pubmatic after a huge rally. Now it's down. Vroom down 21%. They reported their earnings, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think they reported their earnings. How do I change this layout? Oh, is it going to be in widgets? You know what? We'll just pull that up over here. So Vroom is down over 22%. That's absolutely a crazy drop for the company right now. We're pretty much trading at almost pre-IPO levels, you know? All right, Nio taking a little bit of a breather. Palantir, look at that, almost at $25, $24.96 is going to be the high of day and the resistance, and Tesla is somewhat getting supported at 650, right? That's going to be the low for the day. 650 support for Tesla, 25 resistance for Palantir, and $40 to $38 support for Nio. We'll see if that gets validated as well. Now let's bring out the VWAPs for AMD as well. AMD up just about 20 basis points. Look at that, Palantir just broke out of over 25. We'll see if Palantir allergic to 25. Lily, that's right. We'll see if that actually breaks out. We need to close above $25. That's a big thing. We're up over 6%. The volume really needs to kind of kick in for Palantir right now. Let's take a look at how much volume is being traded. We've got 2 million shares here. We got 320,000. We've got over 2 million shares here. We've got 700,000. So the buying volume is much higher than the selling volume. So that's good because 755,000 here, 625,000. So I could see Palantir, you know, closing above $25. I would not be surprised if that level kind of finally gets broken out as well. So Tesla kind of validating that middle VWAP. We'll see if that level gets validated. AMD also pulling back a little bit after the huge run up. The SPYs and the Qs also pulling back a little bit as well. And over here, let's take a look at on the 5-minute chart. Apple up over almost 0.5%. Amazon up over 1.4%. So Amazon is pushing up after all the selling pressure that it has exhausted in the past. I mean, you know, Amazon definitely deserves to be up at least 3,200. I mean, it's just crazy when it was down so much. I mean, recently it was just pulling back. So Tesla is breaking down below 660. I mean, that's the resistance at 670. We are getting rejected at that level. Let's take a look at if there's anything going on at Bloomberg. Again, you guys make sure that you drop a like. Let's see if we can get to at least 1,200 likes. Thank you so much. So Southwest down, you know, Johnson & Johnson down. We've got United Airlines down, Delta down, Wynn Resorts is down. or no, that's Nordstrom. Nordstrom is down. GameStop, Riot Blockchain, ChargePoint again. AMC is down a little bit over 5%. Charts. There we go. There we go. We finally have our charts. I'm gonna put it right there. And we're gonna remove this. All right. So we've got our charts now. So we're gonna pull up Palantir here. Very, very quickly, we're gonna go over to the 1 minute chart. And we are again pushing higher. So I'll quickly validate like a support 24.33 intraday, but it needs to kind of validate. Well, it also needs to kind of hold up above 24.75. We'll see if that level gets validated or not. SPY curling down. Let's take a look at Boeing. Boeing is an interesting stock. So Boeing up over 3%, 3.5%. Definitely a lot of buying volume coming in, pushing higher. Market will go negative soon. We'll see if that happens. Yeah, I mean, you know, if we have a much smaller red day than we have in the past, that will help the markets. Most certainly that will help the markets. Let's see if there's anything interesting going on. And NDM up over 2.26%, trading as high as $9 a share almost. Got Chevron, ExxonMobil also up. ExxonMobil up over 2.5% now. So it's definitely pushing higher quite a bit. So the Qs and the S&P pulling back a little bit slightly. Amazon also kind of pulling back. So Nio pulling back, AMD now pushing higher after validating that support. But Tesla, boy oh boy, selling off once again. 650, we'll see if that level gets validated. Palantir trading below 25 once again. The high was 25.08. Nio getting rejected at close to 42.50. Alright, we'll see if there's anything interesting going on over there.
The American Rescue Plan is designed to build on our early progress and finish the job, whatever our Republican...
So Tesla hovering over 654, 650. Palantir also kind of struggling over here. Nio down again in the red, down about 1.5%, trading as low as $41. So we'll see if 40 level continues to hold or if we do break down below that level, right? Amazon struggling as well, breaking down. Let's bring up other stocks as well on this screen.
The debate was set to begin last evening. That was delayed, so that could push this into the weekend. And then finally here, thirdly, tomorrow's Jobs Day, and President Biden is already looking for the next item on his policy agenda. Today at the Oval Office, he's going to be meeting with a bipartisan group of lawmakers on infrastructure. The bottom line, they feel that the stimulus part of their policy agenda is really a done deal, and so they're moving on to infrastructure beginning in earnest today.
Kevin, I just wonder how he works with the governors going forward on a whole range of issues, including infrastructure, and Texas very much in focus right now. You and I talked about the reaction from the administration to Governor Abbott reopening the state. Take a listen to what President Biden had to say.
I think it's a big mistake. Look, I hope everybody's realized by now, these masks make a difference. We are on the cusp of being...
They're not talking about the markets yet, so we'll kind of skip on that. But Palantir, let's take a look. 2450 selling off. Nio down. Tesla also hovering over 650. That's the level. Like, look at the low for the day. Ooh, we just broke down. So 654, 659. Low for the day 654. 650, no. So that's the support that, yes, we are breaking down below that level, down about 1%. Nio is also pulling back, and Palantir is also pulling back. So that's why, you know, I said, like, I don't personally like when the markets shoot up in the first 10-15 minutes, because then they do revert back down. So yeah, I mean, that is quite unfortunate that the markets are pulling back once again. Palantir getting rejected at 25. Amazon has been selling off now. Let's take a look at Apple here. Yep, no surprise. We're down about, what, 0.5%, 1%. Let's take a look at Nvidia. Down about 76 basis points. Let's take a look at CCIV here. And we're down about 0.5%, trading as low as $24. So very similar pattern across the board, right? It's no surprise that everything is just trading in a very similar fashion. And this is one of the biggest reasons. This is very clear as day, as you know, you can make an argument that nothing to do with fundamentals of individual companies, but rather the broader markets. Because everything is just like, even at the same time, like you look at, this is like 9:39, 9:40 a.m., 9:39, 9:40 a.m., this is 9:39, 9:40 a.m., everything just starts pulling back at the same time. Like now Apple is down close to 1%, Amazon also is now potentially going to turn red. CCIV is already down a little bit over 40 basis points, Nvidia really selling off over 1%. And then we've got AMD, Tesla, Palantir all in the red as well. Let's take a look at the broader markets. Have we turned red yet? Oh, look at that. Absolutely crazy for Qs and for the S&P. Like, wow. This is just what a bull trap. Yeah. Yes, it's crazy. It is wild. Let's take a look at the VIX. So the bond yields are still, you know, down about 1.15%. The Qs are selling off quite aggressively right now. So that's the S&P, that's the Qs, and let's bring up the VIX. So yep, it is shooting up a little bit. So guys, the best thing that can actually happen for both of these indices today, in my opinion, is going to be a small red day. If you can see a small red day, some consolidation, some, you know, stabilization of these prices, that's really going to help the market because of the volatility that we're seeing. So that really is unnecessary volatility every day. Like we're up 3%, we're down 4%, up 5%. So we really need to kind of kill the volatility a little bit. Amazon still kind of red, Apple down in the red as well. Amazon still kind of fighting that support at $3,000, up about 41 basis points. CCIV also kind of struggling, and so is Nvidia. And let's take a look at these. Nio down, let's see, 3.5%, hovering over $40. AMD down in the red, Tesla down in the red, about 1.5%. We got Palantir down in the red as well. Let's take a look at some of the other stocks and see what's in the greens. All stocks. Alright, so these are all the stocks that are right now in the green a little bit. I mean, these are obviously not every stock in the markets, but GE is green, AT&T, Exxon Mobil selling off a little bit, Chevron down a little bit, Facebook up in the green as well a little bit, Pfizer, JP Morgan, but then everything else, like, it's just straight up red. I mean, even airlines and cruise lines and even wind resorts is in the red right now. I mean, Target, we've got Intel, we've got TJX, Wells Fargo, Costco, Visa, AMD. It's just Boeing now just almost turning red. I mean, it's been selling off quite a bit, I mean, it's only up 1.6%. So, and let's take a look at Finviz really quickly to kind of understand. Let me close all these tabs before my computer crashes and the live stream kind of goes away. So that's not updated yet, but as soon as that updates, oh, there's gonna be so much red on the screen. Boeing really selling off, up only 1.3%, and then everything else. Palantir up over 3, trading as 24.37. Palantir is the only one that's kind of holding up, you know, a little bit. But let's take a look at these stocks. AMD down about 8 basis points. Tesla struggling at 650. I mean, you know, that's a support that we're really fighting. We're down about 1.2%. Nio down over 3.8, trading as low as $39. And then Palantir is the only one that's kind of staying up a little bit. But everything else is really kind of fighting right now. Right? So QuantumScape down over 4, Square down over 4, Enphase down another 3.75, ArcG down another 3.5. Tesla down over 1.3. PayPal is down over 2.5. Nvidia, Microsoft. So Amazon struggling to stay up there. Palantir struggling to stay up there. CVS and Facebook and Google are the only ones that are trying to stay up there in the greens. You know, we'll see when Jerome Powell speaks. Let's see what's going on here.
Moving events you need to be watching. That'll be next in our trading diary. From New York City this morning, good morning. 23 minutes in, we turned just a little bit lower on the S&P, down 0.5% on the Nasdaq. This is Bloomberg.
All right, so we'll see. We'll see how the markets trade, and then, you know, $40 for Nio is a level. A lot of support, a lot of area of demand for that as well. Let's go over to the S&P and the Qs. So look at that. We came down to 380s. That's the support that we had talked about, and we are consolidating, right? After this push higher, we sold off all the way down to that support that we had talked about at the beginning of the stream. And we are kind of consolidating at $380, right? That's the support that SPY needs to kind of validate, right? If SPY breaks below 380, then we're going to potentially be headed for a correction territory. But for the Qs, you'll notice that we are already in this sort of area of demand, or this sort of like a support, right? 307 is going to be the level. Why? Because if you guys remember correctly, on the weekly chart for Qs, that's what we talked about at the beginning of this stream, right? It's $307. That's where the 21 EMA is. That's where the 21 EMA has previously acted as a support. So if you're talking about Qs, we're trading exactly at $307. That's the support we need to kind of validate. Treasuries are going to be right here, Jim. So this is the 10-year yield. We've been pushing higher quite a bit, so we're coming in from lows of 0.5% to now we're almost 1.5%, a 200% increase in a very short period of time. So that right there is a huge run up. The biggest reason, the single most reason why the markets took a breather is because of this, because the yields have been pushing higher, right? So again, there's going to be a resistance somewhat at like 1.56, 1.567. Let's take a look at how many people we have watching. 1100, so perfect. We've got almost 1165. Let's see if we can get up to at least 1200 likes. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, all right, that's gonna be the yields. SPY. SPY is gonna be over here. So Qs again. Wow, they're selling off quite a bit now. Down about 80 basis points. 309 is already broken, so 307 is also getting broken. You know, that's quite unfortunate for the Qs. So we'll see if that level gets validated or not. We're like literally crossing below right now, real time. So Palantir selling off, CVS selling off, Amazon now in the red. What a surprise. AMD down in the red. Apple trading as low as 120. Nvidia, Twitter, Tesla, ARKG, Square down over 5% now. Like Square's down quite a bit. Palantir again selling off down to $24, giving up on all those gains. AMD also selling off. Nio down over 4% now, trading as low as $39, and Tesla also down over 1.6. Let's take a look at if Finviz kind of updated yet. Yeah, it's still not updated yet, but we'll kind of circle back to that. So GE is one of the ones that's up over 2%. Palantir again. ExxonMobil up, it's kind of staying up there. AT&T is also staying up there. Chevron is also kind of staying up there as well. Boeing again selling off a little bit. So the low for the day is going to be sitting roughly at 231. So like right around that level at 231. Previous resistance for Boeing got rejected, and right now we are kind of somewhat validating that support for Boeing as well at 230. Let's take a look at order book. Oops, so we just retested 230 right now. AMD, wow, really pushing down. 79.71. Nio still down. Tesla just broke down below low of day at 638. It's down over 2%. Palantir down almost 2%. Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So the Qs. Alright, let's take a look at some of the other stocks here. So this right here, Amazon top left, Apple top right, down over 1%. Nvidia really pulling back, $502 low of day, down about 1.75. And then we've got CCIV down a little bit over 5% as well. So Exxon, Chevron up again. We've got CVS, we've got 3M. That's going to be a little bit of an industrial play. Procter & Gamble, Walmart, JP Morgan, Bank of America, slightly in the green. But it's not like, you know, I feel like it's not like when these tech stocks are down like 2%, 3%, like, but these banking and like these energy stocks, they're not up like crazy amounts, right? It's not like it's up like a crazy amount. I mean, we really need to understand the ETF sector as well and where the money's flowing to. Let's take a look at EVs. Wow. Absolutely crazy. I mean, Li Auto is the only one that's only down 2.5%. Tesla down over 2.5%. Nikola down over 3%. CCIV over 5%. Nio down over 6% now. There's just a lot of selling pressure coming in for Nio. Tesla also down substantially, and so is AMD. It's just all over the place. It's just Workhorse down over 9%, Lord's down over 8%, Hyliion down over 6%. And Let's take a look at if there's anything going on here.
Since we heard from Jay Powell on Capitol Hill in his semi-annual testimony last week, the 10-year yield now sits at 146. You are seeing a little bit of buying come in, so a little bit lower yield, but nothing to write home about. Just to get a sense of like where the momentum is, I just wanted to take a look at that ARK Innovation ETF. It's just what tech, what momentum stocks are kind of doing. It's a good example of that. That's down another 4% after getting taken out by about 20% so far this year. Crude, though, different story, getting a nice bounce, helping the S&P energy sector. That's the best performing sector, again, for the S&P guy.
We're getting data, more good data from the United States, this time in the form of durable goods. These are the final numbers, 3.4, bang in line with expectations. We basically had a big pickup in durable goods, and then we've come back down again. And we're kind of where we were pre-pandemic in terms of the numbers. Ex-transport, 1.3. That's a little softer, but not by much, to be honest. Remember, you've got the Boeing factor in all of this. And capital goods orders, non-defense ex-air coming through at 0.4 again. That's a little light, Alex, but not much.
I want to know that I ordered a dishwasher in November, and it won't get to me till the end of May.
It's like rationing, isn't it, at the moment for some of them?
Yeah, I mean, look at EVs. Tesla down over what 3.5% now, $630. Nio down another 6.5%, trading as low as 38. AMD really selling off, down about 2%, trading as low as $79. Let's take a look at Apple. Nvidia down another 2.5%. We've got CCIV down over 6%. We've got Apple trying to consolidate at 120. We'll see if that level gets validated or not. And then Amazon is going to be sitting roughly under $3,000. I mean, it's breaking down below 3,000 as well. So yes, there's a lot of pain in the markets right now, guys. I mean, there's a lot of weakness. Where's Enphase trading? 150. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty big sell-off. ARKG down over 4% now. Let's take a look at some ARK Invest ETFs. So these are all the ones going to be. So yeah, 3 to 4% is what we're seeing for ARK Invest ETFs as well.
Numbers, we'll see how they play out over the next 2 months of the quarter, but the capital goods shipment numbers for January were
I mean, at this point, it's just at this point I feel like it's more becoming a retail fear panic selling as opposed to institutions kind of relocating over to cyclicals and value. But this is a very, very strong red day once again, especially for EVs, especially for a lot of the tech stocks out there. I mean, everything is red on this watch list except for Palantir, which has basically given up most of the gains, and AMD is down over 2%. Nvidia down below oh wow, Nvidia below 496. Wow. Let's bring up Square over here. Down 6%, trading as low as 220. This is crazy. What do you guys think? I want you guys to talk to me a little bit. What do you guys think? What are we going to see in the markets moving forward? What do you guys think about this sell-off? Don't even know what green is anymore. Makes two of us. Yes, it's really, this is the start of a stock market crash. A crash is gonna put us down 20% from all-time highs. I love it. Grab some popcorn, this is gonna be spicy. Anniversary in March. That is true. March 18th, I still remember. Today is March 4th. So literally about a year ago, we saw, signs of a pandemic and signs of the market crashing potentially. And yeah, I mean, Square now down over 6.5 almost. Amazon breaking down at $2,985 per share. Apple struggling at 120. Nvidia at 495. Tesla down to 623. Nio down to 37. It's down over 8%. There's just been a lot of selling pressure coming in. Advanced Micro Devices down over 2%. You got Palantir is the only one that's kind of staying up, but free falling, been in cash for a month now. Yeah, I mean, this is just straight up down, and this is just like, there's not really much to go over other than we can just look at the markets and just look at how much red there is again. Some cases even double digits. Plug Power down over 11%. QuantumScape over 9%. You know, there's a lot of stocks that are in the red right now. And we're just struggling to find a bottom here. You know, that's the biggest thing, is this: these stocks are not able to find some type of a support or some type of a bottom. Patience is going to be key in this market, guys. Patience and having a level head is going to be very, very critical in the markets, because you know, because then it can get really exaggerated if you don't really understand why this is happening and what's the main cause. I know it's in the moment, and right now we are in the moment of this sell-off happening, which is why I want you guys to be even more mindful of what's happening and, you know, make the right decisions, so to speak. So the Nasdaq again getting hit 1.4%. The S&P is down a little bit over 0.5%. Yeah. I mean, it's a more of a macro level pullback. It's on a more macro level. Interest rates rising. You know, we've seen a lot of things kind of play out together. The valuations trading at a much higher multiple, interest rates, and everything is just kind of pulling back substantially. And we are seeing the Nasdaq, tech heavy, healthcare heavy sector pulling back even more than some of those other industries as well. So Palantir in the red now. We've got Tesla down over 4%, trading as low as $624, and AMD trading as low as $79. So, yeah, I mean, Nio, Mass, thank you for the comment. I really appreciate that you think that I'm better than all of them. But still, I mean, you know, this is not us. First of all, I've never claimed to be a stock guru, but again, this is not us trying to predict where the markets are going to go. This is just trying to understand what's happening in the markets and kind of manage our risk accordingly and map out those important levels that we need to watch. They do get broken time to time. We have these breakouts and breakdowns because of what's going on a much broader level, right? And now, in my strong opinion, it's becoming a little bit more of a retail and like more of a panic selling situation than it is, and we are seeing some overreactions for a lot of stocks out there. So everything is, I mean, just straight up down. I mean, Shopify down over 5%, like PayPal down over 3%. We've got Tesla down over 5%, Twitter down over 3.5%. We've got CCIV, we've got Nvidia, we've got Apple, Microsoft, Fiverr down over 4%. Let's look at the SPY and the QQQ. So we are breaking down below that 21 EMA. Amazon trading as low as 29.90. It was the same pattern, right? We saw the morning pop. We pushed up a little bit and then basically all the way down. And the yields are coming down as well. I mean, it's funny because the yields are down 1.85% on the day, so we're not even seeing like a relationship between the yields or the equities today at all. For the jobs number, Bryce, this right here is going to be the numbers to look at. So 750,000, they actually came in just shy of the expectation, came in at 745,000 for the claims. And 200,000 is going to be the jobs, how many jobs we're going to add. Potentially, that's the expectation in the month of February. So those numbers are going to come out tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at how many people we have. So 1,100. So Nio kind of stabilizing at 38, 37.80, 38, and Tesla also stabilizing at 617. That's the low from last week also. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And she also mentioned that there was like a correction coming in this year. So, that's what we're seeing. Advanced Micro Devices absolutely getting destroyed. I mean, it's just straight up selling. It's just crazy. So is Amazon. So is like Square. Square for some reason down over almost 7%, trading as low as $218. And Nvidia down a little bit over 2.7% as well. Let's take a look at some of the valuations. Where are they going to sit moving forward based on these numbers? So now Tesla is at 620. Was it 617? $620. Roughly at 625. So 625, and we're now, less than 1,000 PE and 152 forward PE. And these are going to be all the levels to watch. And let's take a look at some of the other ones. So Square, which is down 6%. Forward PE 123, which is quite comparable, I would say, with Tesla right now. Well, Tesla's market cap is now under 600 billion. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. It was at like what? Let's see. It was at 863 billion just a month ago. So Square, Palantir, AMD, again, I really don't understand why AMD is selling off a little bit. But again, this is part of the markets. This is where discrepancies occur because of the fear, because of the broader markets. But Tesla's valuation is coming in a little bit intact. Of course, Ford and GM are trading at 8 times forward PE and 2 times price to book. Basically nothing times sales. Let's take a look at Netflix. Where is Netflix trading right now? So Netflix is down about 34 basis points, trading as low as $518. So Boeing broke down even more. So Boeing is down it's only up 1%. So it has been selling off quite consistently since the market's open. But JP Morgan turned red. Visa turned red as well. Let's see. Uber is down. PayPal is down over 3.5%. Uber is down over 3%. Carnival, Nordstrom, they're both down over 3%. Snowflake is also down. Yes, YH, I read that Elon's brother pulled out of his Tesla shares. I don't think he sold all of it. I think he sold like a little bit. But he did kind of sell at the right time. Talk about timing, right? So Shopify down over 6, Corsair down another 5.5. Virgin Galactic is down over 5%, Enphase down 7%. Riot Blockchain down almost 10%, ChargePoint 13%. ChargePoint is really selling off to $24 a share, $23 per share. I mean, all these EV stocks are just getting hammered hard. It's just Vroom now down over 25%. Microvision is down over 10%. Huge gap down for Vroom after the earnings. Maybe we can break down the earnings for Vroom. Well, the markets are bouncing back. So we're still in a downtrend, right? This is not going to help the markets recover at all, like intraday, because this is straight up, bulls taking control. Like we're trading below these moving averages. There's so much resistance at these levels. There's like massive amount of rejection here for Nio, right? We've got the 200 SMA, we've got the 21 EMA, we've got the 50 EMA, we've got the middle VWAP. Same with AMD, right? Getting rejected at that level and again selling off even further. Same with Tesla, a lot of rejection, trading below those averages for Palantir as well. So it's going to be very, very difficult for these patterns to kind of shift trend on the day. But all they really need to do is kind of consolidate sideways. But it looks like we're going to have to wait to see some consolidation sideways. The Nasdaq again down a little bit over 1.5%. Amazon 29.95, Square still selling off a little bit, Nvidia down. So let's take a look at CCIV down almost 8%, and Workhorse with a huge gap down as well, down about 10%. So Boeing breaking down. Yeah. So that was a support. We broke it down. We came back up to backtest that old support as a new resistance, and now we're selling off even further. So the next support to watch for Boeing, unfortunately, is going to be sitting right here at close to like 228. Support from here, validated support intraday. So that right there is going to be the range to watch for Boeing moving forward. So kind of like in between that range. But it's a pretty red day once again. Iggy, yes. So there is going to be a Patreon link down in the description below. We have, I think, a little bit over 220 members. If you want to join, you'll get access to our Discord. You'll get access to the TradingView charts as well. And you'll get access to the growth portfolio that we just started. It's a perfect case study because we are down. I mean, I'm personally down on that growth portfolio because we just started that in February, and the markets have been down quite a bit, right? We have AMD, Palantir, Tesla, and Corsair Gaming in that portfolio. But I will be doing some more buying later this week, sometime next week, because of how red the markets have been. But yeah, the link is going to be down in the description below if you want to check it out and kind of get in on that. So, all right, guys, I'm going to do this for like another maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes, and then I'm going to have to catch up with you guys later. I'll maybe put out the update, as soon as the markets close. But it's looking pretty red, no doubt about that. Nio's still kind of holding above 38, 38, 30, 38, 50 levels. Tesla, 650 is getting broken. 617 is kind of like the level that we validated last week. AMD also selling off. Elizabeth, yes, I will buy more shares of AMD. It just depends on the price. I really want prices to consolidate and stabilize a little bit, because this right here is going to be the chart for advanced micro devices, right? So if I go to AMD, we're breaking down below that $81 level, and we're coming down to this 200 simple moving average. So it really needs to kind of validate some type of a support before I can feel more confident on some type of a trend reversal. We're still trading inside this downtrending channel, so lower highs and lower lows. And once that pattern shifts, then we can see a more of a trend reversal for advanced micro devices as well. So Mia, or I hope you pronounced that name right. No signs of recovery yet. There is no signs of recovery yet, and I'll update you guys definitely when there's a shift in the patterns and the trends. Right now, it's just it's just really weak, and regardless of how much recovery we see intraday, it's gonna be really difficult for us to have any type of a momentum shift. Not unless we break out of those moving averages, not unless we start making higher highs, higher lows, we show some real strength for the pattern as well. Yep, so let's take a look at what Powell is talking about. If he is talking right now, I don't think he is. All right, guys, so I'm actually going to end the live stream here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We've been doing this since like 2 hours ago or maybe 3 hours ago, since pre-market. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Make sure that you drop a like button. It really helps out with the channel. Also, these are part of the market. This is very normal. This is not something that's new. This is not something that's happening for the first time. So absolutely no need to panic or, you know, panic sell the stocks. Of course, the trend is down. Of course, there's a lot of weakness and there's a lot of, the narrative has changed on the markets, right? But we'll see that change once again. We'll see a momentum shift and a change in direction as well. So thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Check out the Patreon link down in the description below if you want to get started and be more involved with our money investing community. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll try to do this almost every other day or every day as well. So again, thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys as well. So again, we'll cover the markets in the future, and I hope you guys have a great day and stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.